How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Excuses on BTWProductions.com and YouTube.com with your favorite show hosts, are still.
Fenarian.
And Volacel, and we're here to bring you the latest news and commentary on the video games industry for the week. But first of all, if you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com. Or you can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw, or you can join us in our Discord server, most easily by going to vtwproductions.com and clicking on our show logo on any of our recent show posts, which will take you directly to our Discord server, where you can chat with the show hosts and other listeners to the show in real time.
And you can watch Vol post videos about budgie smugglers.
It's a
PSA.
public service announcement. We're coming in for the southern hemisphere, coming into summer. This is important data people need to make the right judgment about where you can and cannot wear a budgie smuggler.
That's actually, that ad is misleading. There is at no point any time it's acceptable to wear a budgie smuggler.
Yes, well, there are some people who can't accept it. And we've got Zerathus in the chat demanding to know where the show is. Are we actually live?
We should be live.
I will let him know.
Well, maybe you should put the link in there or something. I don't know. I thought it was a pinned message. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I've informed him.
Right, yes, we should be live. I've got green lights and everything.
Yep.
And now I have a room full
he'll
of
get back to
dollars.
us. As long as you got a recording, we're good to go.
Right. So, also, I apologise if you can hear wind noise in my background. It is stonking great hot here, so we're actually in the middle of what they call a heat wave, or what we.
How do you even tell in Australia?
Exactly. Well, everything's on fire.
We get those when the temperature hits over 3 digits Fahrenheit,
Yes.
but over there, temperature's always over 3 digits Fahrenheit
Yes.
because you live at the border of hell,
Yes.
from what I can tell. And hell is called the bush, or just Australia in general, because everything's trying to kill you.
Just Australia.
Australia.
Australia. So, yeah, I apologise for that, but if I turn off any air conditioners or anything like that, I will probably die, so not doing that. Alright, on the stream today, I'm playing a bit more Neverwinter Nights 2. I was going to play some Black Desert Online, but that game just does not want to play nice with streaming for some reason. No idea why.
Yep, I'm attempting to Ferengle. I got the link. I will get it to our live show listeners. We are definitely live.
Yes, just post that up again. Alright.
There we go. Dug it out.
Technology is fun. So yeah, I'm picking up from where I left off last week. Doing some fighting in the bandit camp with, Best Dwarf and Stabby Tiefling.
I see.
Alright, as far as what gaming and nonsense I did this week, I'm not sure exactly what happened. I ordered a Switch on Friday. It actually arrived on Monday. It had not been eaten, or dropped, or thrown off a cliff, or anything like that. It arrived here in a timely fashion.
Basically, what that means is that you need to check yourself into the hospital because you are suffering heat stroke.
I think that might be it. I'm just hallucinating it and I skipped a week somewhere.
Yeah, like a dingo should have eaten that thing on the way.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Or
So,
a kangaroo should have stole it or something. How does the Australia system work again?
You tie it to passing wildlife and hope for the best.
All right, your kangaroos are your mailman. That's right.
Yes. So, especially once you get out of the cities, things just it's hopeless. The only thing more disorganized than the postal service is probably our telecommunications network.
Well, every country's telecommunications network is awful, so.
That's because 4G is insisted on being a thing.
We should make our own global telecommunications company. Our slogan is, we're better than everybody else.
But would we actually be?
It's like,
Well, how
Ari
would you
will
know?
Come out and fix your lines yourself.
This is a point.
Himself.
So yeah, I've been playing around with that little thing, and it's not a bad system. It's quite enjoyable, actually. It did take me a little bit of time to get used to the teeny-weeny hand controllers, though.
You didn't get a Pro controller with it?
Not yet. I'm going to get one at some point in the very near future. But
Yeah.
the regular one works just fine. I did have a concern, actually. When you clip the controller to the sides of the screen, I was really worried about, rotational torsion on that and having them just snap off. But that does not seem to be the case. That's actually fairly sturdy on that console.
I think if there was a snapping plague, somebody probably would have complained about it by now.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I know.
We would have really heard about that.
You mean when they clip onto the little screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they hold pretty good.
They do.
The sticks on those itty bitty things are actually pretty well put together. They've survived living in my jacket pocket.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Like, is that a hazardous environment? Is it like full of razor sharp keys and stuff?
Well, it's just a tight pocket where I stick literally the entire Switch in my jacket pocket.
So,
and the sticks have not got stuck or bent out of shape or anything. And if I take it somewhere, it's going in the jacket pocket.
Incidentally, I never did ask, what's the battery life on it when you're actually just using it as a mobile device?
It depends on what you're doing and exactly what you're playing. If you're playing a single-player game, I think it's about 2 hours.
Like, if I was... Breath of the Wild was about 2 hours when I played that on it, and Mega Man X Legacy Collection lasted about 5.
Okay, yeah. For me, I was playing Mario Kart 8 at the time, and it lasted about 2 hours. I believe it goes down if you start using online features as well.
Yeah, like, just flip all the stuff off if you can. It depends on the game.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not a bad system. Honestly, I'm surprised that Nintendo hasn't declared that they're sunsetting the 3DS yet, actually, because it does everything the 3DS does better. Except for the screen thing.
You say that. They haven't declared that they're sunsetting exactly. They have declared that there's not a successor.
Yeah, they have.
Which is pretty much the same thing.
It's basically the same thing. But yeah, there's still games
3DS
coming out for the 3DS, at least.
3DS is getting old.
It is. It
really
is.
It's showing its age.
So the games I played is Mario Kart 8, which is basically the same as Mario Kart on the Wii U, except just a little bit more of it. They've added a couple of new characters. They've added the Inklings in there, and they've given cars for them. And I'm not sure if Tanuki Mario and Cat Peach were in there before, but they're in there now. So you can actually play Mario and Peach in 4 different costumes on the one track.
All right, Fern, we're getting reports that you are quiet and Vol is loud.
Right.
I'm starting to think. I'm starting to wonder if it's the speakers on Serathus's device that he listens to, because none of this ever seems to show up when Fern reviews the recording.
No, it doesn't.
And I thought Serathus kept telling me I was too low.
Well, you got a new motherboard just now, so...
You did.
Oh, I guess I don't actually know what's going through. So,
so yeah, we have new hardware on at least one of our show hosts. So
yeah, I don't.
And I got the mic boom as well, which might be helping by keeping the mic in a reasonable position.
Yeah, I don't want to turn my my levels up anymore because of horrible background noise. I could turn them up a tad, but yeah,
we can't hear your fans if you're worried about that. Like, you're okay for a bit more.
All right,
can't hear them at all.
I'll give that a bit of a tweak then.
Yeah, when it sounds like you're on the tarmac at an airport, we'll let you know.
Yeah, we can't even tell there are fans on.
All right. Let me see. Just find all my settings, because OBS doesn't want to have everything in the one place, and Discord tends to do its own thing. Ugh.
Real-time tech support on the show.
I know, right? So while I sort that out...
while you sort that out.
Yes, while I sort that out.
So yes. I assumed you were working all week, not consumed by your Switch.
It was a bit of both.
Yeah.
But,
I feel I need to remind you, Fern, that multiple 14 hours a day work days during the week constitutes a pretty bad week by most people's standards.
Yes, it does.
It should not be the norm like it is for you.
No.
Like, I had 2 14-hour days this week, and this is a bad week, and I'm hoping next week will be better. This is not normal.
Thankfully, things are getting better. Like, I'm not doing the constant 14-hour weeks now. That might be a little bit better there on the levels.
Yeah, we'll see.
So yeah, the a good chunk of the time I disappeared this week was also, being devoured by the Switch. So I blew through Mario Odyssey actually on that one as well, which was fun enough. Like, it wasn't the most challenging.
Which one
game.
is Mario Odyssey? I don't even remember.
The latest,
Mario.
It's the latest one that's centered around hats.
Oh, the one where you possess things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's there to really say? It's a 3D Mario game. We've all played those before. We know exactly what to expect.
Well, I haven't played Mario 64, but
Did you play was it Sunset? Play Sunshine?
Nope.
Or Galaxy?
Nope.
Or nothing? Okay.
Nope. Mario 64 was the last Mario game I played. Period.
Right.
I'll reiterate what I said when I did my playthrough of Mario Odyssey, where it is a good game to play, but unlike other Mario games, I don't think it's a good game to complete.
They've
at all.
They've kind of said a lot of things to collect. Let's just say.
Well, it's not a lot of things. You have one thing to collect. The exact same thing to collect.
About 400 times. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Serathis, our 14 hours are voluntary because we're masochists.
Yes. Well,
they're self-imposed, though we still prefer not to do them.
Yeah. Why are my characters got horrible, horrible debuffs?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had to work more than about 11 and a bit hours on the clock because I have a proper employer.
Yeah, family businesses tend to get around a lot of things.
Yeah. Either you have a hidden agenda like I do, or you feel obligated like Fern does.
Yeah, I'm not plotting the downfall of my own family.
Oh, I'm trying to rescue the company, not blow it up.
Yeah, but it might turn Freedom of Possum into roadkill.
Freedom of Possum, really?
Work is all I got for a week, so we'll save that for later.
Oh boy. I cannot remember what I was supposed to be doing in this game.
But yeah, the biggest problem with Mario Odyssey is while you're completing it and doing the checklists, there's no kind of rewarding feeling for doing anything that's even a little bit more difficult than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get the exact same thing for doing a marathon fetch quests to go throw stuff in a pot in the food land that you do for ground pounding a random spot on the ground one time.
And that's a moon.
You get one moon.
You get one moon. If you fight a boss, you get 3 moons.
Moon!
Yeah, yes. It's just it does not feel good to complete at all.
Yeah.
If you enjoy the feeling of completing games, the fact that they have not scaled the rewards appropriately, just it doesn't feel right. And yeah, it's all a checklist at the end of the day if you're going to do anything. I get that. But there's a bit of an intangible, unquantifiable feeling with this stuff that it's just like it doesn't feel good when you're getting the moons.
In Darksiders, so the first Darksiders, when you clear the checklist and do all the things, if you start a new game plus, you've got this completely different new fancy set of armor that gives you a bunch of power and a bunch of skills that you have to wear.
Yep.
Like, that's what you get. You get a reward.
When you beat the Mario Odyssey's main story, which I have, by the way, the actual story, if you want to just blow straight through it, doesn't take all that long and it's not overly difficult.
Yeah. Well, because the only requirement to progress is moons, and a good chunk of those moons you can get by literally ground pounding the ground.
Yeah.
In random spots. Or going to a random spot.
So, compared to previous Mario games, it showers you with moons. Or stars, or, whatever the thing
Are
of
there
the day
stars
is.
as well?
In the Mushroom Kingdom, the moons become stars. It's just a reskin.
I see.
Yeah, there's a reskin of the outside of Princess Peach's castle from Mario 64.
Yeah, it's an updated version of it.
It's a post-game, just for funsies level that's not very hard at all.
There is really... Well, there's some challenging little asides there, but it's mostly a hub to get to the rematches for each of the bosses.
Yeah.
But the game kind of just showers you with them, rather than previous Mario games where everything had a bit of a prerequisite to do. Like, it's not just pound the ground.
Yeah, in Mario 64, you'd be given a hint of what you needed to do, and you'd have to look around the level and see what changed and figure out where the star was and go do a specific task to get that star or some other star that was in the level inaccessible. based on how the level is loaded out for that particular mission.
Mm-hmm.
In this game, you go into the level, and there's moons everywhere.
Yeah. Like, those hints
They're
are
just
still
laying
there, and some moons require them, but there's also a lot that just don't. They're just laying around.
And you also have a tracker that can find them for you.
I've never actually used the tracker.
I haven't used the parrot, but the parrot will straight up tell you where a moon is.
Well, no, he just
mark
gives
it
you
on your
the yeah, he marks them on your map and gives you the hint.
The marking on the map part is the important part, because that takes all the guesswork out of where you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
Like, there is no problem solving or exploration involved. It's go to where they said so on the map.
Yeah. Incidentally, by the way, I played around and dug out a few old amiibos to see what they did. A bunch of them unlock new costumes, which is, all well and good. And if you talk to Cosmic Interdimensional God of the Universe, Luigi, he'll actually comment if you're wearing his costume.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Luigi in these games tends to, he's kind of weird. In this case, he turns around and he throws you off into an alternate dimension where everyone's chasing balloons.
Wait, what?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's weird. It's weird. Don't think about it.
Yeah. Which is,
Luigi
I suppose...
sends you to a special area that has another moon.
Yeah. Which is, I suppose, a nice change from Super Mario Galaxy 2, where Luigi was just, God.
Wait, what?
Yeah. That game
I didn't play Galaxy 2.
It had a post-game mode where you could play as Luigi, and it had the absolute toughest challenges in that mode. And Luigi didn't care. Luigi just did them.
Let's see.
Oh,
I always liked Luigi over
Very
Mario, even
strange.
if he is inconsistent. I'll come over to my other
But yeah,
Neverwinter Nights 2 game, so you get to watch Dodgy the monk, who is not a monk.
but yeah, you are right though. It is fun to play through and complete the story.
Mm.
Like do a run through of the game. That's okay. Just don't try and complete that game. You'll tear your hair out because it's like 900 moons.
It is something stupid like that, yeah. They're also adding more content all the time, mostly, more costumes and things like that.
900 moons.
900 moons.
Have you seen the 2-hour supercut of every single moon get animation?
Why would
It
you
takes
do
2
that?
hours just to watch the moon animations when you line them up back to back.
But why
for
would
getting
you
all
do
moons.
that?
The point is that
masochism.
2 hours of your life when you play that game is going to be eaten by the animation of getting the moon if you complete the game. Because there's so many of them.
It's all the
And you
moons
can't skip it.
all the time. And no, you can't skip it.
Yeah, you can't skip it. And this really long animation is going to play every time you get a moon, which is going to happen about once every 3 minutes.
There's
And
actually
if you line up
3
every single
versions.
instance of that animation. Yeah, one of them's super duper long, but I think that's only for the bosses.
That's only for the bosses, yeah. So you got the super duper long one for the multi-moon, which is 3 moons. Then you got one which is, a moon with some actual challenge and a level design behind it, which is medium length. And then you just got the one that's moon laying on the ground,
Yeah, but
which is about what Mario 64 had in terms of length.
But yeah, the point is 2 hours of your life will be consumed if you try to complete this game simply by the moon animations.
So I'm going to keep picking at it, largely because I've got to kill time until Smash comes out, which is happening sometime in the next week.
I would seriously just move on, dude. Don't torture yourself. It's not fun.
We'll see how far I go. I'll just keep going until I get bored.
I'm a masochist and I'm telling you not to do it, dude.
Yeah. Like I said, I'll just keep doing it till it gets boring. Because I just blew through the story without really trying to get any of the, the difficult off-the-track ones, even though it still showers you with moons regardless. There's still a lot of value left in that game for me. Mind you, speaking of dodgy value decisions, one big criticism about the Switch, and probably the biggest one I'm going to have at this point anyway, the internal memory card size.
Yes.
Is teensy weeny.
Yes. Get a modded SD card. Or whatever format it is. For micro SD or something.
Or
Just
something.
Get a card reader. get a modded SD card and format it for DS or for a Switch.
Yeah.
It just, there's a mod tool out there that will let you mod an SD card so that you can use a really honking big one.
Yep. Oh, I might just have to do that. The internal memory is, I think it's only 32 gig.
Yeah, don't rely on Nintendo first party SD cards or whatever the frack format it is. Don't rely on the internal memory of that thing. Your wallet's gonna hate you.
Yeah. So I've got to figure out how to get around that, because by the time I put Mario Odyssey and Mario Kart on the console, that was it. Console's full.
Yep.
Wow.
So 2 games.
Yeah, 32 gigs, I think, is the default system mem.
Yes, I miss being able to put in a disc or a cartridge in a game.
And just
remember back when
just play it.
Once upon a time in an alternate universe, I bought the Street Fighter V disc and it didn't require a 50 gigabyte patch.
I know, right? Wait,
I still forget every time. Every time when I buy a new game, stick it in the PS4 and I'm ready to play it, and it's patching. Well, I never seem to learn. Every single time it happens. I've completely forgotten since the last time, and I'm really excited to play the game. And patching.
And I'll come back in 2 hours.
Yep. And now, by the time it's finished patching, you don't want to play it anymore.
It's like, I don't have time.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess it's patched now, but it's bedtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, sleep budgeting around the install time is a thing I have done more than once.
Yeah, the usual set it to patching and go to bed strategy.
Yeah, when Danganronpa 3 V3 came out, I put the thing in the system, told it to patch, and went and took a nap. So that I could play it when it was done.
I seem to have run into a problem in this dungeon. There are ghosts. I have no magical weapons.
Isn't ghosts like...
They're ethereal. You can't hit them with material weapons.
No, what you need is Luigi.
That is actually what I do need. Like Luigi,
I gather he's got experience with ghosts.
I think in Neverwinter Nights 2, silver is an exception and does work on ghosts.
I believe it does, yes, if you have silver weapons.
I don't think it gets full benefit, but I think it has like a 50% damage or hit chance.
I might just reload that one.
I don't think silver effect.
Yeah,
just a damage.
It might be. I don't remember, but silver has some effect on incorporeal entities in 3.5. I don't remember exactly what it is.
Yeah,
I have to dig out my handbook. My 3.5 handbook is buried somewhere in a drawer.
And
I don't know which drawer it's in.
And there it shall stay.
Well, 3.5 is fine. It's just I gotta find the book because I haven't used it in forever.
Yeah. What else? Swing it back to Mario Kart. I am kind of disappointed that they didn't add any more tracks to that. They've included all the DLC stuff, so you can get Link and the Animal Crossing crossover. Link has a Breath of the Wild costume as well. They've also included that head-scratchingly weird Mercedes car in there, which was a DLC because reasons.
Oh, right, that thing.
Yeah.
I forgot that was in the game until me and my sister were playing it on vacation.
Yeah.
In air quotes.
So you just spun up the Mercedes.
Well, no, we saw it in the car list and we're like, what the heck is that for a body for your car?
Yeah.
Why is that in the game? And we had to go Google it.
So yeah, that went not long after the launch of the first Mario Kart 8, there was a crossover event with Mercedes that had it up there as a DLC. I think the DLC was only something like $2.50. But that's not the point. It was paying to put product placement in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And it's still baffling.
Metal female characters on motorcycles is still the easiest way to win that game, by the way, against the AI.
Just the heavyweights.
Well, no, just the metal specifically, the mid heavies. You don't want to go full heavy because then you can't turn and do the gravity stuff. But if you go mid heavy, you can do it pretty easy, and you get a ton of top speed. And if you get the handling of a bike, you're just going to beat the AI every time.
Oh yeah,
there's no way it can keep up with you statistically.
Yeah, 50cc. I'm actually convinced it's impossible to lose on those maps because by the time you cross the line, they're kind of half the track back behind you.
So something I realized while I was playing it with my sister, there is rubber banding in single player for the racers.
Yes.
But there is not rubber banding if you do any of the cups in local multiplayer.
Huh.
So we went through and we got all of the trophies, and we were wondering why we were having more trouble getting the trophies when one of us was just playing alone for whatever cup we were doing on whatever CC. And it turns out it's because the AI rubber bands if you're in single player mode, but it doesn't rubber band if you're in local multiplayer mode.
Interesting.
That's weird.
It
is a very weird quirk.
I suppose if there's always a potential that the other player will easily be able to see what the AI is doing.
Yeah, if somebody gets Mario Karted on at the start of the fight, not the fight. Well, Mario Kart is a fight. It's always a fight.
It's a fight.
But
It's gonna end up being one if it's not one to begin with. If somebody uses a blue shell,
yeah.
There was a lot of strategizing while me and my sister were playing, trying to coordinate our use of the blue shell and strategically lose first place whenever one of us got one.
Yeah.
So that we could blast the AI and get all the trophies.
I'd say that I'd like to know what the new items are. I think there's actually a boo item you can get now, which seems to shuffle who has what item at the time.
The absolute worst item that has ever been added for Mario Kart is the stupid blooper.
the what?
The blooper, the squid.
Because, yeah, the blooper is the squid thing. And what it does is it sprays ink on everybody's screen.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're playing on half screens, because you're playing on the same TV, when the blooper sprays the ink, your entire screen turns black, and it doesn't affect the AI at all.
Yeah. Like, on single player,
I
it's not too big a
see.
deal, because you're using the full screen, so you can still see around it, but...
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
you just gotta whiff. You just whiff an item box, basically, if you get it in single player. But in multiplayer and split screen, somebody's not going to be able to see.
Yep.
So what does it do against the AI in single player then?
I
Turns them
have no
black.
clue. Yeah, it changes. It puts the covered in ink sprite on them, and that's it.
Yeah.
It appears that they do not care that they have ink on them. I don't know if it has any other effects, but it seems to do nothing.
It doesn't seem to do anything, no. Which is really quite annoying.
Easily the worst idea for a power-up in Mario Kart.
They did implement a method to get around the blue shell, which is the horn. But if you're in first place, it's a very rare drop. And I can guarantee you, if you try to hang on with one, someone will nail you with a lightning bolt immediately before the blue shell hits you. Every time.
Yeah. The horn isn't that bad to get in first. I got it plenty of times while I was playing. But
It's rare enough.
the bigger problem is, like you said, the lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Because when you're hit by a lightning bolt that hits lightning bolt's an item that hits every racer and causes them to spin out and shrink in size.
It was in Mario Kart 64, which was the last time I played Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I think it's been
And
since the beginning.
Yeah, in Mario Kart 8, it causes you to lose whatever items you have in your item box. I don't remember if Mario Kart 64 did that. And it also lasts longer the further ahead you are in the race.
Yes.
So if you're in first place, the duration of your shrink from the lightning bolt that makes you go slower will last longer than everybody behind you.
Yep.
That's cruel and unusual.
Very.
Mario Kart is like Mario Party. Somebody's gonna die if you're playing this with local multiplayer.
You play this game
One
if
of
you
your-
want to lose friends.
One of your friends is going to kill somebody, or you're going to kill one of your friends. This is how this always works.
Yep. And I don't care.
Nintendo seems to have a talent for creating those sorts of games.
They really do. Like, between Mario Kart, Mario Party, and... I'm trying to think of the other one.
Smash Brothers has shades of that as well.
Smash Brothers
because there's
does
so
have-
many of the items are just total bull.
Oh,
Yeah. Oops, I'm fighting by this now.
It had this weird inverse effect with me and my sister, who are normally at each other's throats all the time. Mario Kart just seemed to, both of us just turned our attention to being angry at the game instead of at each other.
But it's so cute and happy, and it seems so innocent. But it will
And then
destroy
somebody gets a blue
friendships.
shell.
Yeah, someone gets blue shelled.
And then somebody gets a blooper in front of an item they need, and they have to use it and cover your screen with ink, and you can't see anything. Dang it, Amanda! Why'd you push that blooper button when I was going to win the race for us?
And then the fights begin.
It's like, don't push the button. She's like, I want to push the button. Don't push the button. I'll push the button. Dang, I can't say anything.
And I push a button.
And then you run into a cow.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's one track it's got cows on the road. There's also one track which has Mr. Rossetti on the road, by the way.
I see.
Sadly, he does not shout abuse at you. He just gets in the way.
I got people asking us if we're doing the show, so we actually forgot to move to the lock channel.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Since people actually use the Discord now, we might want to remember to actually do that. I'll drag us down. We can just keep talking.
Yep. So that'll be my week done, I guess. It's been switchy. I'll probably talk about Smash Bros when that comes out in the meantime. But I don't know. I've got to get Monster Hunter Generations, but damn, that game is expensive. It's like still full $100.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's like Monster Hunter World sort of made me interested in Monster Hunter, but I don't really want to buy another Monster Hunter unless I know it's like surpasses it.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to feel like I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure long time Monster Hunter aficionados think that Monster Hunter World is like a nasty casual piece of crap.
Oh yeah, there is a good audience for that viewpoint.
But it's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks better than any other Monster Hunter game, and it's not close.
And it is very new player friendly, which the other Monster Hunter games just aren't.
Like it's like the people that argue that you know original Dota is the best because it's full of bugs.
Yeah,
no, those things they impede people's ability to get into it. They impede people's ability to play it. Just because you know where all of the sticking plaster is and all of the baling twine does not actually make the fact that it runs on sticking plaster and baling twine good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Just because you can summon Rastapasta's 6 snake heads to completely trap somebody in between them with the pixel perfect accuracy does not mean that's a good mechanic.
No.
I'll take your word for no idea what you're talking. Anyway, so yeah, I'm sort of like the Monster Hunter now makes my ears prick up, but it's I sort of want to see development in the lineage of Monster Hunter World. Like I would be perfectly happy to see all of like some of the real classics from historical Monster Hunter make their debut on that engine and in that framework, but I don't necessarily want to go back to the old school and get completely shredded because it's number one incomprehensible to somebody who's played Monster Hunter World because none of the quality of life is there. And number two, requires me to buy a separate system that is less powerful and is not going to do all of the cool stuff I wanted.
Yeah.
So,
I suppose you could call Generations X the definitive version of the old school at this point.
Yeah,
so,
and I don't have anything against the old school, but the old school is for old schoolers. It's not for me. Even if there's cool ideas in there, I want to see them all gussied up and strutting their stuff on the fancy new framework.
Yeah.
There's a lot of power there, and that development team have shown that they've got a lot of competence at sort of grinding down the rough edges on that game.
Incidentally,
so I just
why
want to develop.
This is Capcom we're talking about, and it feels so alien to actually compliment Capcom.
Well, they're the only department which has done anything really, really solid.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why the guy leading that team is now in charge at Capcom.
Yep. For the longest time, I swear you could walk into the Capcom office and just find a palisade wall with, reptile skin all over it, and that's the Monster Hunter team behind that. The rest of the company shall not pass.
Yeah. But like I mentioned at the end of last week's episode, even the Xeno'jiiva remake for Arch-Tempered, like that shows that they are progressing. Like as we speak, they are progressing in the way that they develop new fights using existing monsters. So hopefully they can branch out a bit more. I'm sure there'll be another entry to that line, given what a smash hit Monster Hunter World was. Once they build, another half dozen new zones and another couple dozen new monsters, they can crap out another game and they will have my money. It will be waiting for them.
Yes, yep.
Yeah,
If
they can cut down the load times, add some more maps, put in a couple new weapon types to learn, they'd have my money again.
I admit I'm still used to old school Monster Hunter with terms of load times. Monster Hunter World's load times are an absolute godsend compared to old school.
Yeah, that is my biggest barrier with going back to try the older games. It's not that they're more technical and more weird stuff I'd have to relearn from the habits I built in Monster Hunter World. It's that every single subzone within a zone has a load time.
Yeah.
That is the biggest reason I don't go back and try the older Monster Hunter World or the Monster Hunter games after World and get introduced through that, because loading is a problem.
Yeah, I'd rather take the one big loading screen that Monster Hunter World presents than all the little ones put together.
But yeah.
There's also the whole thing of, being bumped over a zone barrier and having combat miraculously stop because somehow you were flying backwards 300 meters into a completely different part of the map.
You were looking
logic.
for your Dragonator.
Where's my Dragonator?
Man, chasing monsters like Silver Wind Dragon would be... I don't even want to think about doing that in the older school games. That guy is annoying enough to chase around a map and have to punch through his wind stuff without loading screens.
Oh yeah, on the old school, like even in in World, the monsters do it to a small degree, but the monsters had a lot more options for routes they could take around the map. So they could jump into a hole in the wall and they'll suddenly be all the way on the far side of the map.
That just seems annoying.
Incredibly so,
Like,
yes.
You've got like patrol paths for like Odogaron has a really wide loop, and ones like Radaban and that they tend to cruise around the map, and you can actually get sort of a sense of stalking them around the level.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the time, I will just sort of carefully follow Odogo around the map until I feel like he's in a place where I can plausibly fight him. So I've got to sort of stalk him. But the idea that he could just decide, I'm going to teleport to the other side of the map would really break the immersion.
Yeah, I would really like to consistently fight Doggo on the poop hill that has the waterfall next to it, where there's nothing else anywhere within a 50-mile radius.
Yep. The other thing, of course, is, at least in World, when a monster runs off in a certain direction, you can be fairly sure that when you if you stop for a moment and, sharpen and things like that, and then chase them, they will be over there. Even if you don't use the tracking flies. Even, in old school, if you didn't slap them with a paintball, then by the time you got to... And you say, for example, there's a hole in the wall in Zone 1, and that goes to Zone 5. By the time you walk around there, that monster could have moved on. And you have no idea where he went. So, yeah, I'm glad... I'm glad that whole system is gone. The paintballs got replaced by the tracking flies.
Why were we talking about this again?
I was going to play Monster Hunter, but yeah, they're still asking top dollar for that, so it'll have to wait.
Oh right.
So yeah, Vol, your week, sir.
My week, I didn't do all that much this week. It was a busy week at work, not like obscenely busy, but busy enough that I was tired at the end of the day. But on Monday, I did the Great Rebuild.
Yes.
Tore my computer to pieces. Gave it a bit of a vacuumed until the vacuum cleaner ran out of batteries. We had to put the vacuum on the charger.
We thought you had a blow dryer or the leaf blower out.
I was on the opposite side of the house.
It was loud.
Like, there's only one other room I could have gone into that could have made me further away from my microphone.
Yeah, I had to pick Vol up and stick him in the AFK channel while he was across the house vacuuming his computer because it sounded like he had a leaf blower next to the microphone.
Yeah, but apparently the vacuum cleaner can only go for 5 minutes if you crank it up that high.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Oh dear, I think my game has crashed.
We've got one of those battery ones. It's got a good amount of grunt to it, but not for very long. Anyway, I hate cleaning out my computer. I'm glad I don't have pets, and I'm glad I don't live in the desert, and Fern has both.
Yes.
I can only imagine what the inside of his computer must be caked with on a regular basis.
It's
But
every other week job.
is it?
Yeah.
Do you ever get like horribly poisonous creatures moving into your case?
No, thankfully.
Like,
I've caught a
do
spider.
spiders ever try and live in there?
I've pulled a few spiders out of there, but not often.
I've never found a spider in my case before, but it's always full of cobwebs. So
That's one
Not
of the
sure what's
big
going on.
mysteries, isn't it?
yeah, like there aren't that many holes that they can get into except when they're really small. So I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I'm
So
convinced they just merge with the motherboard and become new buses.
I see. Anyway, so I've got a new motherboard, a new CPU, and new memory, new flash drive for my boot drive, because I don't really like formatting drives. I just retire them intact usually, because I'm paranoid about losing things. So, I got a gigabyte motherboard on the basis that it was relatively cheap and had the features.
Excellent.
Like, I know gigabyte motherboards in this current generation are not great because it's tend to be inefficient. They lose a lot of power to but I don't overclock, so I don't really care. Like there's really only something that's a problem when you need to pump more juice through your system.
It's not something I'm game to try. I know if I do it, I'll wreck something and everything's going to catch fire and explode.
Honestly, I don't really care to. Like, I've never had a moment where I thought, man, if I had just overclocked another couple hundred megahertz, it would. Like, that's never been a thought that I've had. So
No.
I just want everything to run nice and predictable in stock fashion. So I got a Ryzen 5 2600X, and I have to say that I hate applying AMD CPUs to the motherboard. They have not gotten any better since I had an Athlon. You have to use so much strength, and that's just terrifying on a motherboard.
Yep.
Oh, do they have really tight slots for the socket to put it in?
No, it's like back in the day, in the Athlon era, where I was, which was the last time that I had an AMD CPU, they had these incredibly finicky spring clips that were used to clamp the cooler onto the motherboard.
Oh, yeah,
And you used to have to get a screwdriver and jam it in the slot, and then wrench with like all of your might -1 to try and hook the clip onto the other side of the socket. And like the biggest cause of death for motherboards, for AMD's motherboards, was the breaking of the plastic that holds on to the spring clip. But because they were plastic, the sockets were made of plastic, because sockets are always made of plastic, they can't conduct electricity. And so you've got to hook this mighty spring onto the side. Okay, so those still exist. I didn't have one, but those still exist apparently. I don't know if they've improved that tech. But the one that I got, the Wraithspire cooler, because every grade of Ryzen CPU now has its own cooler. The one that I got, it had like heavy springs on each of the 4 screws.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, I had to unscrew all of the supporting brackets and things from the motherboard that are designed to accommodate the other types of cooler, because every cooler is different. And then I had to carefully position the cooler on top, and the only part making contact with the CPU is the thermal paste. The thermal paste is getting all squished around while I'm trying to get this thing in position, which is not a great feling.
Did you get a spatula to measure how much you're supposed to put on there?
No, I didn't, because I don't work for Verge. But so I'm trying to get this thing in position and sort of squishing it around, and then you've just got to get a screwdriver and put a humongous amount of pressure on these screws to get them to contact and bite so that you can start screwing them in. And this is the whole feeling of putting massive amounts of pressure on your motherboard and on your CPU. It's never going to be something that I'm comfortable
No.
It was one of the reasons I switched to Intel to begin with, is that they just required less brutality to apply the component. Generally speaking, that with an Intel one, you require a little bit of pressure and then a bit of a twist, and it locks in place.
Yeah.
And the AMD ones are just like, lean into the motherboard with all your might.
I think I got lucky when I did my rebuild and got maybe the only motherboard that does not have that problem. Mostly. It tends to be a bit like that on the RAM sockets, though. RAM should not be the instruction.
The other thing is that there's a little bit of molding. Okay, so that the cooler can fit one of two ways, because it's got symmetry along one axis, so you can put it like one way or the reverse way. But there's a bit of molding on it, which is just basically for a logo thing. If you happen to seat it in the wrong way and it's pointing towards your RAM slots, if you've got tall RAM, that's not going to fit. Yep. And I know I happened, because I was busy trying to work out what the heck I was supposed to do with all of these retaining brackets for CPU coolers. I went on YouTube to look for a video to make sure I was unscrewing the right thing from the motherboard. And that warned me against it. But apparently if you mount the cooler it's right but wrong way, that molded part will occlude your RAM slots and you can't get RAM with tall heat spreaders into it.
Huh.
So, yeah, it seems like a pointless design gaffe.
That's a bit.
But yeah, so I've got some nice 3200 RAM now, replacing my old crusty ones, and I've got a nice CPU, decent motherboard. Had to find one which still had analog 5.1, because apparently it's not a thing anymore. Everybody just uses my port. Don't. But yeah, I haven't really given it much of a trial, because I don't play very many high-powered games. My old system was just getting basically cranky anytime I asked it to do very much more complicated than browsing. So, but I did install Black Desert and give that a bit of a tool around, and I could barely run that last time. Now I can run it, it's just got so much bloom I can't see what's going on.
They did their remaster, as they call it, which is basically their big graphical upgrade. Everything is shiny.
They upgraded the amount of bloom. Everything is bloom now.
Yeah.
Just bloom everywhere.
Everything is...
They do like their bloom.
Yeah. It's not quite Star Trek levels, but it's close.
Yeah. So, yeah, everything seems to be working. I'm a bit disappointed that I lost my browser history, because I basically used the browser history in lieu of bookmarks. I would type the first letter of the thing that I want, and it would give me the address right away, which was especially useful because I'd visited the page on the wiki for every servant in FGO, so I would just start typing their name and it would immediately take me to their page. I'm going to miss that. I'm really going to miss that. What else? So, Black Desert. I got very frustrated with Black Desert last time, largely because Black Desert doesn't tell you anything about Black Desert when you start playing it.
No, it really doesn't.
And most of the game appears to be counterintuitive, especially given the environment that it's embedded in. A world where everybody has played World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't play like World of Warcraft at all. And it doesn't play like Terra, and it doesn't play like anything else, really. It's not necessarily to say that it plays well, because it is a little bit janky in various ways, but I'm going to give it a bit more of a go when I have some time, although it will be by increments, since I just don't have time to really sink my teeth into an MMO at length.
Yeah.
Especially considering the amount of length that FGO demands. Yeah, I've rolled a Maehwa this time instead of a Valkyrie. The Valkyrie felt very static and repetitive, because a lot of what you do as a Valkyrie is spam the same attack over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it got a bit dull. Plus, you always look like an opera singer.
Yes.
From the ring cycle, no matter what you do. So, yeah, I'll have a tool around with that.
Yeah.
And I finally found where you can turn off all of the announcements, barrage all across. Goodness only knows why. There.
You're also lagging a bit. Yeah, so I'm going to probably try and join you for a bit of that. I've rolled up a Tamer who is thankfully not, terror levels of need an adult, but she's still awfully young by default.
Well, I mean, the characters are all meant to look Asian. Maybe she's not actually that.
Yeah.
She just has a small frame.
Guys, we are the adults now.
That's horrifying.
No, I still need an adult.
We were the adults. We are now the adults that we needed. This is a problem.
It was insufficient.
We are not sufficiently adult for terror.
It was wholly insufficient.
Skyrim was like 40 major life events ago.
Good grief. Don't think like that. That makes us really feel old.
Man, why'd you do that, man? Anyway. So, I don't think I've actually had much of a chance to put my PC through its paces there. Although I've gotten the Neptunia game I'd held on buying. I got it from my brother for my birthday, so I might try playing that. It's not like Neptunia actually taxes a computer at all.
No,
but I had held off on buying it because my computer was creaking along and barely met the requirements. It's basically almost a peace of mind thing, really, because it had gotten to the point where I just stopped thinking PC games because they were all in the, well, I might be able to run it, but my computer might also explode trying. So yeah, I hadn't played much on my PC in quite some time, but now I have that option open. It's a live option. It was before, so it'll probably change the way I think about these things. And I might even poke at Warframe again, since everybody seems to play it, like everybody on Earth.
Yeah.
Who isn't playing Fortnite.
Who isn't playing Fortnite. I'd prefer Warframe over Fortnite. Because, I mean,
yeah,
Space Ninjas...
When I played Warframe before, like, it worked-ish, and I also didn't understand anything that was going on, much like Black Desert. So,
yeah.
Along with Black Desert, it's due for another change. Another try,
but yeah, Warframe tends to do major overhauls rather frequently, so every time I've gone back to it, they've changed something up completely, like a frame has gotten a complete overhaul and is not terrible anymore, Limbo, or they've added entire new mechanisms to this game, all that sort of good stuff.
I feel like I need somebody to sit with me when I play that game for the first time to explain some stuff to me, because every time I try and play it, I'm just like, what am I doing?
Didn't, like, Sleep or Fuzzy or somebody play it?
I think they both play it.
Yeah. Just about everyone I know plays it in some degree.
Just about everybody that I know has played past tense it at some point, at the very least.
Yeah. So, I guess all you need to know is you are a ninja. You're in space. Go flippity-floppity all over the place.
Yeah. I haven't installed
it. That was about the long and short that I understood. I did try and play it at one point, but mainly I just got lost. A lot.
Like, there's a fairly...
I don't know if there's a map button in there, but I kind of wish that there was.
There's a lot of fairly involved lore as well as to, what happened to Earth and how everything's kind of gone to hell. Who all these aliens are and why those mad scientists wearing buckets on their heads.
It's like one of those games that looks like it would be cool to play, but you just can't breach the armor on it. So, yeah.
You need somebody to throw you a rope to scale that wall.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like Skyforge, by contrast, led me by the hand pretty carefully along the way. Like, I didn't, other than the fact that it had a billion currencies at launch, it more or less explained everything as you went along.
Yeah. You're a deity. See that big warrior woman over there? She's a bitch. That's Skyforge's story. Done.
Yeah, pretty much. But, yeah. That game was pretty good about letting you run around and hit people with a chainsaw as appropriate. But in Warframe, I basically ran around very quickly, blundering into like a lot of and getting lost in the swamp, and then getting lost in places, and then trying to finding my way back into. Like, for people with no sense of direction, it's not a great game. Anyway.
We've got to build you a head map and install it in your head.
Just RM mini-map.
But,
didn't Google Glass try that and make everyone look like pretentious douchebags?
Google Glass no longer exists.
No.
They realized that the culture was not ready to be under permanent surveillance in obvious fashion.
Extremely obvious fashion.
Basically, the product hadn't even come out, and every store had banned. This shows that your culture is not going to accept your product.
Yep. Now
Quite literal fashion too, I'll add. It's on your face.
It's on your face.
Anyway. Speaking of mini-map, Black Desert has a really fancy mini-map.
It has
Holy
two
cow.
very fancy mini-maps.
You can switch it to 3D. Do you know how badly I've wanted a 3D mini-map in so many MMOs?
Yeah.
They tell you, oh, go to this place and there's a thing. Yes, but at what elevation? There's like 6 floors to this place. My goodness. What a blessing.
Yep.
I remember having to take you through Sunken Temple.
Everybody got lost in Sunken Temple. There was no exceptions to that.
Well, they've heavily abbreviated it.
Yeah, they have.
Heavily. Which I think is perfectly alright. But when Classic comes out, that'll be back down there, and I'll get stuck down there for like 3 hours again. The thing is, you gotta keep in mind that I got lost down there for forever, and that was when we were like, they had revamped the thing for Cataclysm, so everything was pretty much navigable, and you could survive down there. In Classic, going down into the Sunken Temple was an all-afternoon proposition.
Yes.
There were a lot of mobs that hit really hard on your way to that dungeon.
And if you got
that
lost, they
dungeon
respawn.
That
For
dungeon
every hallway,
was
you'd
a
stop to
3-hour
eat.
project.
Yeah, it was a long time. Like, it did not get done outside of guild groups.
No.
Because you needed people who were going to sit with you on voice chat for hours to clear it. Heaven forbid you were actually going to try and summon Avatar of Hakar and do him too.
If you tried to pug that thing and you managed to get a good group, you would have somebody's vent channel by the end of that run.
Ah, boy. Good times. Good, frustrating times.
I think I could still navigate it if you dropped me back in the middle of it. I would get lost for about 5 minutes before the map came back, but I think the head map's still in there somewhere.
I would die of fall damage within underground.
As long as you don't go to the bottom floor, because I'm pretty sure there's absolutely no reason to go to the absolute bottom floor outside the instance.
Didn't you have to go down there
Yeah,
for one of the elements?
See what's at the bottom floor.
Well, yes. I think there was a boss down there.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember ever going down there unless I was getting lost or falling down.
Ah, dear.
Anyway, I don't do anything else. I'll play a bunch of FGO. The FGO Christmas event for 2018 is on, and I'm farming furiously, and I got the CEs. So, yeah, that's great. I got it twice.
It is a very silly event. Again.
Yeah.
It got Cirrus today. Like, the stories it got had a legit Cirrus moment. I was surprised.
I haven't had time to... I haven't played. Still in the midst of farming. But, yeah, I haven't cleared very many boxes because I just haven't had the free time to do it. Like, I've got apples. Plenty of apples. Crunch on. But I don't have time to actually spend all that AP doing farming. So, I'll just have to jam some in on my day off. Try and clear at least the minimum boxes, and then everything else after that will be gravy. Like the boxes are so important that I don't even care about buying stuff out of the shop. Like the best, the rarest of the materials in the shop will just come naturally with the lotto boxes, and I kind of like the fact that those two systems are linked as opposed to completely separate as they have been in the past, and that you get currency for the most important things in the shop from doing the lottery part, so you don't always just have to pick one or the other, which is good considering lottery events tend to incentivize hyper focusing on the lottery. But yeah, so I will hopefully be able to get myself set up on skill gems for at least a little while. But yeah, when the Amakusa banner comes out tomorrow, I'll probably blow all my remaining tickets on that just to see if I can get him. If I don't, well, too bad. But quartz is for important things. So quartz is pretty much going to get hoarded until Mysterious Heroine X comes out, X Alto, and that's unless I get tempted by by Dick Wizard. So
Is everyone
I don't
actually
know.
going to call him by his real name?
No.
no, why bother? But yeah, I don't know. Like he's super powerful, and my brother assures me that you're hobbling yourself if you don't get him. But
Right.
I don't really care. Like even if I got him, it would be forever in a day until I got all the skills up to 10. Whereas I know that within 5 minutes, there's going to be people on my friends list who've got him at Noble Phantasm level 5, all his skills at 10, and he's level 100.
Gotta love a
Yeah.
whale.
So I might as well just borrow one that works.
Everybody by the point of the game we're at has fished up a couple dudes that have their current player message set as waiting for Merlin with an NP2 waiver with 10-10-10 at the very least.
I would rather have most other supports that I don't have than like having your own Merlin is important for when you don't have a waiver and you want to run Merlin waiver, and when you want to run double Merlin because double Merlin breaks certain counters. So powerful.
Yeah.
Romp all over it. But I don't like the character especially much, and I just don't. I prefer to use Art Servants. I only use Buster Servants that I'm really fond of. I think that there are too many Buster Servants in general, and that's probably what makes Merlin so overpowered, because so many things fall into the category, so you can cover so many strats, whereas Arts and Quick are much narrower niches. But I generally prefer Art Storm. Go than wasting a whole pile of ports on Dick Wizard when I could instead decide to drop them all on waifus, because that's what gacha games are for. What else? I haven't had much time to watch anime this week, although I've been sort of surprised at Merc Storia, which is a really banal anime in most ways. But it's like I keep watching it because each individual story it's a bit by the numbers, but there's a lot of heart to them. The problem is that they're not even remotely connected to each other. So yeah, it's a very, very weird show in the sense of its general construction. I'm not really sure how to describe it. Each story, most of the stories are about 2 episodes long, and it's basically main character and main character's sidekick wander into next country. Story happens.
Yeah.
And most of the stories are not too bad. The current one is like the country of birds, full of bird people, and they burst out in song all the time.
That's rather weird.
Yeah, having nice plumage and singing well are basically the 2 most valuable currencies in that.
I suppose they are bird people.
So it results in a lot of bursting into song. Like, bursting into song is just what they do in their culture as a theme that is broached pretty early on in the episode. But the story gives a very, very distinct it's for children vibe, except that the stories are just generally a bit too dark for children.
Huh. Like,
they are well directed at children. Like, they're the sort of things like the sort of very edgy, very slightly edgy children's stories. Like the most recent arc that finished was basically about a little girl whose mother had died when she was quite young, and with the sort of the mother removed from the family, her and her father had a great deal of difficulty relating to each other. And the story was basically about their reconciliation, which, your dad still loves you even though your mother is dead now, is a moral for children, but the framing is just so dark.
It's a bit worrying.
Yeah. At any rate,
what are you talking about? Kids don't have dads anymore.
Oh boy.
I'm resisting making a joke, and I'm resisting making several of the jokes in there
because they're all horrible.
Incredibly poor taste. Yeah, they're all quite horrible. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to avoid that. Just leave that one alone.
Bale in jail.
you can't follow that up any further, or we will get fired.
Good grief.
Anyway. So, yeah, the slime anime is way more entertaining than it has any right to.
Yeah. I haven't watched
Like-
the latest episode yet, but hopefully I'm ready for a goofy episode.
It's relatively goofy. It's one of those main character gets to show off how OP he really is sort of episodes, but while those are like sort of narratively plebeian, they're also like they're popular because they serve that purpose, that purpose of watching the cool guy get to be cool.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's actually a slime is just the icing on the cake. I think that's what makes it so tolerable, is that ultimately he's not a human. Because if he was a human, then you've just got a wish
Kirito.
fulfillment story. Yeah, you've got Kirito. Like Kirito didn't earn the right to be God mode all the time, the way he is God mode all the time. And he's like in the new Sword Art Online, he's God mode.
Yeah.
Bringing him down to normal didn't last very long.
It lasted, what, one episode?
They basically time skipped the part where they time skipped 2 years of him training so that he could be God mode again.
Ah, damn it.
But I don't know why they keep doing this, but so I'll keep watching it so long as the adventure keeps happening. But yeah, the what I will grant it is that they didn't have like an entire arc of grating episodes about him in Swordsman School. They've only had a couple, so
Small mercy.
that's something. But yeah, I think that the slime one works because it is not a human. You can accept more absurdity from a slime because it's a slime. It's not a person. You aren't really expecting it to adhere to the normal rules. And yeah, there are certain things people know that because they know JRPG high fantasy. There are certain things you know about, like that they can swallow things, like that they often are immune to certain types of elemental abilities, like that attempting to use an edged weapon on a slime is usually a losing proposition. Those sorts of things that people already accept.
Yeah.
Slimes, plus the fact that there's they even do the goofy line about him being a friendly slime. Like that's perfectly in context makes sense in myriad ways.
Yeah.
And it basically frames things. It frames the series as a whole. This story works because he's a friendly slime. It wouldn't work with a person. It wouldn't work with a human being in his place.
No,
because
you just end up
then it
with
would just be a
Power Fantasy number 3882. Again.
Yeah.
So we're kind of sick of seeing that story.
Yeah, and so this is the same story, except that it's fun.
Yes.
Because you're playing with a toy that you haven't gotten to play with.
Up until it's not fun anymore, and it kicks you right in the feels.
Yeah. They do have a little bit of feels in there, unexpectedly coming along and making sure that you haven't forgotten that, you still have feelings, and some of them are negative. But, yeah. I'm still enjoying it, and despite the fact that it is, like, the thing is, it's so close to being the exact same show as so many others, but you just change one little thing to make it, less offensive to the sensibilities, less offensive to a person's sense of fair play, because that's really what it is, right? In Another World with my smartphone, what is the other one? The Lesser of Einherjar one, the Sword Art Online, basically. They offend people's sense of fair play.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you're a gamer of any worth, even the smallest amount, you realise that accomplishment should be earned.
If you're better than a games journalist, in other words.
Yeah. Like, the reason why you get to be the hero in the story is because you went through the arc to become the hero. If you just start off, oh, well, you're welcome, you're in this new world now you're the hero. Enjoy. Like, that offends people's sense of fair play. And I think that's why these stories have become so hard to swallow for so many people who are older than 13 years old.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's it's a case of, you got everything you want and you didn't pay for it. And I think that's why the variations on a theme, like the slime one, like Konosuba, they work so well because, like in Konosuba, he didn't get a damn thing.
No.
He's a bad person who died in a dumb way, and he's gotten a dumb reward for it. He played a stupid game, he won stupid prizes.
He should have gotten something cool, but he just wanted to screw the system. So he got a white idiot.
Well, it's not only that, but they have presented a situation where he is completely surrounded by all of the usual tropes, but none of them are quite what he wants.
Yep.
Yeah, so and I think that the slime one works in a not the same way, but a related way, in the sense that it's fair because he had to give up everything that he was. There's nothing left of him. He doesn't have the same suite of emotions. There are a few reveals about what else he's lost in the current in the newest episode. And
Merlin can help you with that.
Yeah, Merlin can help. But,
oh no.
The reality is that he's had to give up. He's had to give up his life. The only actual direction he has in life now is that which he inherited from the one who passes away in the story, before the current point in the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Like he inherits his purpose basically. Everything else he does is random, and then he inherits a purpose, and so now he's got something to do. So he is basically a force of nature who gradually acquires character over time, fundamentally. And he's kind of quirky. He lived a pretty dumb life, where much like Kazuma when he was alive, but he gets sent to another world. He doesn't have his humanity anymore. He's got a nice suite of powers, but he has to work out how to use them because they're not self-explanatory at all and require him to behave in very non-human ways. Like, so long as you aren't directly offending people's sense of fair play, I think that you can still, get another couple seasons worth of life out of this genre before completely old hat.
I think the bigger key in this genre is your protagonist has to be kicked down a few pegs below competent to keep people's interest now. It seems that is the magic ingredient that needs to keep itself alive a little bit longer.
I think that before it was just trading on its freshness as a genre. I think that kicking them down is just to make it fair, because it's not fair in those early examples. It's not fair at all.
Yeah,
they just get to win by dint of being the protagonist, and that's not going to be enough for people. Like, once the world is not cool, once the concept is not cool anymore, because we've seen it a few times, people are going to start looking at the fine detail, and the fine detail does not hold up under scrutiny. A guy being superpowered just because he has a smartphone does not hold up under scrutiny.
Yeah, but
because we all have smartphones and none of us are superpowered.
Damn.
Yeah. There's a
so yeah.
Yeah, if you start from less than baseline, you have something to work towards at the just out the gate. So I think that setup just works better in general for a story like this.
I still think that it's going to outwear its welcome before too long.
Oh, yeah, very soon.
It will need to get put out to pasture, at least for a while. But I'm glad that there are still people who know how to get some juice out. They're getting weirder and weirder though. Like these isekais. Like there's one which is about a guy who becomes a pizza chef, I think.
A pizza chef.
The story is something like he gets taken to another world, and how does it? It's a light novel. I haven't read it, but it's like he gets taken to another world, and he gets to choose one. He can choose one of those the classic roles, but instead he ends up becoming a pizza chef for a bunch of elves who are sick of being vegetarians.
Huh.
He basically has to save them from vegetarianism or something.
That actually sounds hilarious all on its own.
And there's another one where a kid gets to go to another world, but his mother comes with him, and his mother is extremely overprotective, and she's the one who gets to be OP. So like she can lay waste to their malefactors and whatnot, but he doesn't get to have adventure because he's got his overprotective mother, his overpowered overprotective mother hanging over him all the time.
See, that one's not fair but it's not fair in an entirely new direction.
It's the power fantasy doesn't happen. That's the thing. The power fantasy doesn't happen in this completely unqualified, undiluted fashion.
Yes.
But yeah, so the putting twists on things seems to be the way it goes these days. I think there have been a few others, like there's one where someone's reincarnated as a spider, there's one where someone's reincarnated as a vending machine.
Yeah,
they're getting weirder and weirder all the time, so...
You can only twist the subgenre so much, though, before it snaps, and it needs to be put back together a few years later.
Well, I think that there's going to be a process of sort of probing for where the limit on it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because there'll be a limit, but you find it. Once you find it, then you can sort of know where you're working with, where how big the space is people are willing to. Anyway,
we are at about an hour and 20 minutes, by the way, so we should start looking at a break.
I don't have anything else to say for my...
All right, well, that sounds like a good point.
Yep. We are going to take a break, and we will be back in 3 to 4 minutes.
And we're back.
Yes, indeed.
So, we were near the end of All's Week, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I've got much else to talk about other than one thing that really annoyed the crap out of me was that I played it on a guest account back in the day, but that's before it was on Steam, and there was zero compatibility between Black Desert not on Steam and Black Desert on Steam.
There is
and
not even an
since
option.
My email and my usual character names are all in that old system that I can't get rid of them at all. So I had to create a new email address and spent like half an hour trying to find a name that wasn't taken. My goodness.
Uh-huh.
And then another name that wasn't taken, since you need a family name and personal character name. My goodness. Ugh.
I see.
The joys of joining a new MMO that's been running for longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah. No names are available.
Well, all three of us use fairly unique fantasy names.
But I already took mine.
Yeah.
So, at least unless that scenario crops up, we can generally get our names okay.
Yeah.
Since we all have
Free.
normal sounding fantasy names that aren't used anywhere else. Don't use compound word names, kids. It's bad for you.
XX something, Bum Pirate X.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Skull Flame, whatever, Dark Forge, don't do any of that.
Or slap gamer on the end of your username.
Yeah, don't put
Aria
Grand Tag-
speaking from experience.
I was 13 once, but you got to grow out of it at some point and come up with a real name for yourself. All right. I guess we'll jump into my week then. Let's see here. So, unfortunately, my Apple Cart got rocked a lot this week.
I see.
And I don't like when that happens, because I like to plan out my weeks fairly, not like to the letter or super methodically, but I like to have a general game plan of everything that's going to happen. And I set things up in like blocks that can stretch a little bit of time for when I'm going to do stuff. And when I'm going to, do for how long, especially when it involves other people. This week, work wound up running late on days I didn't expect it to, ran short on days I expected it to go long, and the 2 times I was going to go out with friends this week, they bailed on me. So, my whole week just got totally flipped over.
Don't you just love that?
Yep. So, this week, I wound up just sitting around playing a whole lot of FGO, talking to people on Discord. Because when my Apple Cart gets rocked, I don't know what to do. It totally messes me up. But, yeah. The funnier stories are to do with work this week, though. And by funny, I mean I want to kill somebody. And by kill somebody, I mean sit down and scream at them because they've been mean to me. So the first thing that happened that backed everything up was Thanksgiving week happened. And Thanksgiving week means work just doesn't get done because people aren't here. They're off on vacation, they're off seeing their family, and they get back and stuff just gets backed up. Well, the backup happened thanks to 2 people getting drunk and forgetting they were supposed to move some stuff down the chain. So I wound up with, I'll post it in the middle, whatever. No, that's the wrong thing. I'll post the picture of the stack of paper that got plunked on my desk on Wednesday. And it will forever be known as the Great Paper Plonk of Wednesday.
Very
So,
catchy name.
In live show chat, just one day, that shows up on my desk. You have to interact live to see how big the stack was. But it was not a small stack of papers. It was not organized. Had no idea what any of them were. And I had to go through this thing one at a time and figure out what needed to be done with each page. So, it was a nightmare.
I just do not miss any of that nonsense from my days working in an office.
Yeah.
That or the crippling depression.
Yeah, so that was either Wednesday or Thursday was the day I got all that caught up, and it was a nightmare. 14-hour day where I just came home and died. Monday or Tuesday, because this whole week's just a blob. I was just there and stuck because
because reasons, basically, where somebody's getting let go eventually, and they just ain't doing their job. And they've been notified that they're being let go, so they're really not doing their job.
Why would you...
I'm surprised they bothered to show up at the office, to be honest.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
would you just... If you're going to sack someone, sack them. You don't
'Cause-
just let them hang around and clutter up the place.
Because the way that my boss fired them, he has to give them 2 weeks' notice.
I see.
Yeah, even though it's
Firing
family
people
business.
usually requires a lot of mucking about.
Yeah.
Not very straightforward. Doesn't matter how badly they deserve to go. Usually not very straightforward. Like you've basically got to plan around them basically being on paid leave for the for the last part of their employment.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so, we forgot that one of his responsibilities is to go to the post office, get the checks from, the orders that get sent out, and when people pay for them, they send us checks and we send them to the bank. And he's the one that goes to the post office to get the checks. And everybody forgot he did that. I forgot he did that. And so I don't have any checks on my desk when I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do payroll. I'm like, oh crap. Payroll's in 2 days, and it takes up to 4 days to process checks, and I guarantee because it's December, it's going to take the full 4 days at least. So I have to rush down to the post office and throw the checks in the mail.
I'm
And
still
be like,
finding
please
it
get to the
completely
bank in
bizarre
time.
that checks are still a thing over there.
Yeah, in America they are. Like nobody uses checks anymore here.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all over the place here. We get physical checks. I don't know why we get physical checks more than just digital transactions. I'm going to assume it's just that my business is made up of fossils.
Possibly.
So, yeah, the people are very old.
Also,
Judging by the calculator on your desk, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
so,
adopt the metric system already.
so yeah, for reference, I will give you a picture of my desk at work, folks. What it looks like. So you can wonder what some of these ancient pieces of technology some of you are probably too young to recognize
Yes.
on my desk. Yes, that is no, that's the wrong desk.
That's your boss's desk.
that is one of my boss's desks. Yeah, I'll have to find which one's my desk. But yeah. Okay, I found it.
Awesome.
But yeah, there's like a receipt printing calculator there.
Don't they just call it
That I
adding
use-
machines?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's- I've heard them called that. But I use it all the time.
Adding machines. I was like, I don't know what a calculator is.
That's a calculator,
yeah,
fancy name.
The second link is my desk. I mean, yeah, we have stamps to actually stamp the company information. I have an ink pad in my basket. Like, stuff's ancient. Look at all the paper on my desk. Normal people don't have that much paper.
Most people at least have self-thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
So
When I say I work with fossils, I work with ancient people.
Do you have like a little bottle of ink you can drip onto the stamp pad to refresh it?
Yes,
Yes.
actually.
like when you said you were using old technology, I was still thinking, something in the last century.
No. Like, there's a fax machine, like, right behind where I took that picture.
Fax
The tech level
machine.
hasn't actually advanced any since your granddaddy set the place up.
Yeah.
No.
When Granddaddy made the business, he set everything up with top-of-the-line stuff for 1975. And nobody has bothered to update anything unless it's to get a newer model of whatever was already there.
Oh, grief.
It's a really fancy fax machine, to be fair.
You
But
can get really fancy fax machines that are part of an all-in-one combo printer system.
yeah,
With auto stapler.
so
Except you'll never get a fax on it because nobody uses faxes anymore.
And it will still somehow be out of toner.
Yes.
yeah. Or faxes will just fail to send in the odd occasion somebody asks you for one.
It's because there isn't a fax machine on the other side to send to.
Yeah. It's like you punch the number in, it's like, it bounced back, gave me an error. And it took me forever to convince my boss, the Freedom Opossum, just put the paper on the desk and take a picture of it. And just text it to the guy.
Do you not have a scanner?
We do have a scanner, but that's witchcraft.
Ah, right.
Yes. I am the sole person capable of installing that printer on anybody's computer. And by install, I mean turn on their Wi-Fi network so they can detect it. Yeah, it's a mess. The other thing was, while I'm trying to deal with the Great Paper Plonk, by the way, the opossum has found this bobblehead that he thinks is just the coolest thing in the world, and everybody in the office needs to come look at this bobblehead on his desk.
Yeah, have we mentioned that Ari's from the South? Because Ari's from the South.
Yeah, I don't care about offending y'all, so y'all can deal with the fact that the bobblehead is of Robert E. Lee. I trust that y'all are big enough boys and girls that you can handle it.
Do people actually find a person offensive?
Yes,
Good.
absolutely they do.
Where do you even buy something like that?
I have no idea.
The
I was busy
store.
working instead of showing off a bobblehead. Yeah, I have a desk full of papers and with an ADDI machine and a telephone that's actually plugged in.
That's doing this mysterious thing called work.
Yeah, this thing you're supposed to do when you're at the office, not showing the rest of the office your bobblehead.
And that just sounds dirty.
Yes.
Ooh, wow.
So you can see several pictures of my office. My desk is the one with all the papers on it. My boss's desk is the one with the couple pieces of mail on it on either one, the scary looking trolls and the Robert E. Lee bobblehead.
Ari's desk has the adding. His boss has the roll of paper.
Yes. So that is unfortunately the most interesting thing really that happened this week. It has been a not very exciting week at all. It's been a whole lot of work and a whole lot of getting home and having my plans ruined at the last second and being like, guess I'll farm socks.
Yeah.
Been a lot of sock farming going on. You farmed a lot of socks.
I'm on box 24. And just like I predicted, because this is the CE I actually wanted for all the events that were coming up this year,
You ain't getting
I
it.
haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. I'm 24. That's almost 20,000 socks.
That's still a lot of socks.
That is a big number of socks from FGO. That is double-digit hours worth of farming socks. And still no CE.
Yeah. This is a gacha game. Of course it hates.
Yeah. And
The
I
gacha
knew...
can only knows
I
it.
knew it would do this because I was gunning for it. I was like,
Yep.
this
You
is the
shouldn't-
one I wanted.
Shouldn't have let the gacha god overhear you.
Yep.
Yeah, and what's even worse is it was still listening to both of us when we weren't even thinking that hard about it. Because this week I totally didn't care about getting Ishtar. I just wanted to grab a couple of the craft essences from a YOLO tin pull to make farming the cakes a little bit easier, so I could just focus on socks and playing the highest AP node. So the very first card in my 10 pull is the current 5-star rate up new servant Ishtar. I'm like, thanks, gotcha. I needed that luck to get the CE. I'll take her. It's nice, but why did you give me a useless goddess? I already have Gil.
Gil's almost a strict upgrade from Ishtar. That's the thing. Like, she's a useless goddess because Gil exists. Like, the useless goddess is a meme from Babylonia that will be explained to us in due course, since Babylonia's campaign has been announced, going to be out soon. But
Next week, yep.
she's a literal useless goddess to Ari because Ari already has Gil.
Yeah, and I already have plenty of specialized archers. I had the dits.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah, you do. I hope you're proud.
I'm not. She's still at 80. I haven't even done her last ascension yet. So, yeah, that happened. And then Vol was talking smack to me about how bad Fran was. I did a YOLO solo ticket pull, and Fran shows up again for a second copy.
She's still bad.
She's still bad.
She probably is. But yeah, so the gotcha is listening is the point.
Oh yeah, it's listening and it is actively plotting against you.
It is at
Malevolent.
least,
Purely
it's got some
malevolent.
form of sentience. I'm convinced this thing can think. It may not be able to think very hard, but it can listen and it can think. and it's out to get you. It knows how to manipulate your luck.
It wants
knows
you to spend money.
The more you think about how much you actually want to get something ahead of time, it knows how to drain your luck ahead of time so that you will be farming 20,000 socks and still not see a CE drop.
Socks.
Yes, but this is how it happens. I'm not as mad as I'm playing it up, but still, 20,000 socks is a lot of fracking socks.
That is a very
I mean,
big, silly number.
They know too, because like, have you seen the did you see the winners of the Halloween pumpkin carving competition for FGO?
I might have seen it on the Reddit briefly, but I didn't pay much attention to it if I did.
It was a pumpkin carved to look like the Rio illustration of Jeanne d'Arc wearing the sandwich board with "Rate Up as a Lie" written on it.
I see. So yeah, I got a useless goddess and a adorable Frankenstein who is unfortunately useless.
But you can use her. Like, you've got 2 copies of her now, so do you have 2 copies of Tamamo Cat as well?
No, I've only got
No,
one.
then she'll probably pull slightly ahead of Tamamo Cat.
No. Although, I swear the gacha, once you mention a servant's name with your mouth in real life, it assumes that you want more copies of that servant.
Unless it's one you actually want.
No, even then. As long as you mention it with your mouth that you think they look cute, or it's an okay servant, or you talk smack about them, it's going to throw more at you. This has happened consistently. I talked about Herc a lot, I got 2 more Hercs. I talked about Siggy, and it decided I really wanted him. I'm at NP4 Siggy.
You needed more apologizing.
Yeah, I need a more Sumanai dragon. That gacha is alive, and it can hear you. I'm not sure what its game is yet, but I'll figure it out.
It is playing the long troll game.
Yeah. So, is that the pumpkin? That's the pumpkin, yes.
Oh boy.
Oh, dearie me. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have much else to talk about.
Alright.
The one piece of media I can mention, though, is while I was farming socks, I had the early seasons of Supernatural on in the background, which is a normie TV show, and I have a very love-hate relationship with this show.
Oh my goodness, there's like the normiest normie TV show. That's like the Tumblrina TV show.
Yeah. It's a Tumblrina TV show because they like to pretend the brothers are gay.
Wait,
But
what now?
and it's about 2 brothers on a road trip fighting supernatural monsters in the USA.
Oh yeah.
That's the TV show. It's has an overarching.
Like,
arc
I've
for
never
each
seen it,
season.
so for all I know, they actually are gay. But because Tumblrinas think they are, that makes me think they probably are.
No, they're definitely not. In fact, the show started in 2005, so it was still okay to make gay jokes. The show acknowledges it, and they'll like show up to investigate a haunting at a new area that's building houses, and they'll act like prospective buyers. And the guy selling the house will be like, "We accept everybody of every race and sexual orientation," and they just look at each other like, we're brothers, dude. And then somebody else in the same episode mistakes him for being gay again. And the older brother just gives up, pats his younger brother, and says, "Have fun, honey," and walks away. Like, they are not afraid to make gay jokes, and they do it in, like, at least 3 times a season. The first 5 seasons are pretty good, but after that, the show goes downhill really, really, really fast.
Why did they realize who their primary audience was?
Partially, but they also just had the showrunners change out, and that never works out well when you change directors and leadership as hard as they did.
I don't know why that keeps happening. Like, that seems to be what happens to virtually every show that is liked, that has some quality to it, is that it will carry on for a while, and then they'll suddenly decide they need to change the showrunner, and it will tank instantly. And this happens over and over and over and over in every genre of televised entertainment.
Yeah. And Supernatural was strong enough on its own to survive the writer's strike even. It didn't go the way of Heroes initially, but when the showrunners finished their story arc with the 5th season, everything goes downhill. It's on season 14 now, so it's gotten really far down there.
Oh my goodness.
Good grief.
Like,
Is it an ongoing one? It's still going.
yeah, it is the longest running sci-fi show on television now.
Oh my goodness. They must be running a bit thin on material at this.
I have no idea what they're even
Those
doing.
shows tend not to be terribly imaginative to begin with.
Yeah, but it has one of my favorite episodes of Normie TV of all time in season 5, though, where the brothers wind up with a trickster god putting them in TV land,
As you do.
and he forces them to be conscious of the fact that they're in TV land, but if they don't play along with whatever show he sticks them in or commercial he sticks them in, bad things happen to them. So
I see.
he sticks them in a situation where they're in a live film before a live studio audience sitcom and stuff like that.
High stakes theatre sports.
Basically, he sticks them in the middle of a sitcom and they have to do cheesy jokes on purpose, despite not wanting to. He sticks them on a Japanese game show where they get hit in the nuts with a giant mallet if they don't answer a question right. Stuff like that.
Yeah, this sounds awesome.
One of the brothers turns into a car.
What?
They drops them in a CSI episode where they have to make bad puns and put on sunglasses over and over again. It is one of my favorite episodes of Normie TV or any TV show. It's called Changing Channels in the 5th season. If y'all are interested,
That is very, very silly.
but yeah, I don't know if I mentioned Supernatural before, but I do like the first 5 seasons a lot. If any of y'all are itching to watch some Normie TV, I know it's outside our normal wheelhouse, but I haven't given y'all new media in a while. But that's the best I got.
Yeah,
It's
Normie
just-
TV lost me at Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, it's not
Oh my-
that bad. But yeah,
I
so
bet
yeah,
that's still a thing too. Like
It
they're gonna.
Oh, come on,
Yeah,
it's got
I think
spin-offs
it's-
now.
yeah,
And they're just as horrific as they sound.
but yeah. Normie TV is in English, and the plots are fairly simple to digest, so it makes for good sock farming background noise. That is the real reason I turned it back on. But yeah, so I've been going through the first 5 seasons of that again on the background while I farm socks. At least until the CE drops, I'll probably have it on in the background while I farm socks.
You sound bitter.
I am a little bitter.
He's gonna shed tears of joy when it.
And then the
I
event
tried-
will be over the following day.
I tried waiting until I was like 20 apples in and then complaining to Fern again. Didn't work this time.
No, that usually works.
Method did not work for this one. So yeah, that's all I got.
Alright.
So
How about this? We got an email.
we do.
Email.
Email.
Fall, you're up.
Right, because I'm the only person who can read.
Just throw him under
Although-
a bus. I'm
There's one
multitasking. That's not my excuse.
There's also like a mic boom in the way now, so I can't actually see it. But just I'll read through the gaps in them. Okay, so this is from our good buddy Serathis, and he writes, "Dear No Excuse. So, when Ari mentioned the Must Protect Dotoru idle game, that reminded me one of the fears I have about AI. Whenever they inevitably take us over, it won't be with Terminators, it will be by using our own psychology against us. Be it waifu, husbando, or Dotoru, or whatever the big data analysis coughs up. I'm not even joking here.
No.
As for
I think
PC
he's right.
upgrade, Black Friday is a scam over here. Literally no deals on PC components. The only good buy I found was sabotaged by PayPal, so I ended up spending $150 more on my PC upgrade than I originally wanted. But at least I can get rid of the 6 years old CPU. Hey, that's how old mine was.
Likewise. It's a really
Which-
good feeling.
Which necessitated also getting a new MOBO, and while at it, let's get DDR4 RAM. And a new case because this one is really old and I don't even know where the side plate is that I removed 3 summers ago for better airflow. And a new video card because why not? So yeah, Black Friday, don't believe it's live.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to me. And Vol.
Yeah, I didn't buy a new graphics card. I'll probably buy one maybe in another year or two. There's a lot of volatility in the market right now because of the discontinuation of the 1080 Ti and 1070 Ti series.
Provided
we're sort of like-
cryptocurrency continues to be a thing as well, that's going to play havoc with it.
I don't know, cryptocurrency seems to crash daily. Like,
Yeah.
it's still a thing. People are still mining it, and it's still worth... I hate to say that it's worth money because it's not really worth money. They've just convinced certain people that it has. So
Yeah.
it's being treated as such because it's not actually...
Yeah.
But I think that it will lose its value not because it had any intrinsic value to lose or that it lost any intrinsic value that it had, but that they become as a species a thing that crashes so often in such unpredictable fashion that people just don't consider it to be an investment anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
And it will die off that way.
But until that happens, they're going to continue messing with the prices of GPUs.
And until one cryptocurrency eventually comes around in the future that can grip a geographic region on Earth and even work in real life, it's not going to take off.
Yeah.
It has to grab somewhere on the ground.
As far as GPU prices go, I think that the safest way would be if they segregated that market. Like they just developed lines that were optimized for cryptocurrency miners and lines that were optimized for gamers and had them as separate products.
Pretty sure that's already
Because
starting to happen.
it's beginning to happen. Like they've re-released some old failed cards. AMD has re-released some old failed cards, like some of the Vegas as cryptocurrency pioneer cards, because they basically sucked gaming, even though they originally were marketed for gaming. So that's beginning to happen, and I think that that'll be the best way to stabilize that market, because cryptocurrency, people want cryptocurrency products and gamers want gaming products, and they are not the same product. So
Bingo.
if they can establish a stable division in that market, then things will calm down a bit. But because of the discontinuation of the 1080 and 1070 Ti, Nvidia really doesn't have a flagship except for the staggeringly overpriced RTX 2080. So,
Mm-hmm.
and ray tracing, I think, is a boondoggle. I just don't think that it's a real thing. I don't think anybody's going to code for it until like a top end, like all of the tools you need to display ray tracing are available on a $500 card. Until like that's standard for both AMD and Nvidia, I don't think anybody's going to bother to do ray tracing in any big. It's going to be one of
Yeah.
Battlefield and Call of Duty doing nobody.
Nobody
Yeah,
cares.
and you can get comparable effects to ray tracing. You can't even tell the difference most of the time, but even then you can get comparable effects from like a TI 1060. You
Well,
don't need anything big to do anything like that.
Yeah, the ray tracing technology, I think, is just something that Nvidia are trying to sell as an idea. And if you look at the sales pitch that the president made for it, it's appallingly snake oil. Like, it sounds like snake oil. And he keeps saying things like, it just works. And you know what happens when people say something like, it just works? Todd Howard says that.
Yeah, and what happens? Everything catches fire.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, that's one of the things that the president of Nvidia likes to say, much on the way Todd Howard, like, that it just works. Ray tracing just works. Yeah, no, ray tracing may work, but it costs you a mint. Like, a mint to get one of these cards. Like, those top end expensive.
Very,
And they're
very
also hard to
expensive.
get.
Yes.
Because the stock is low. But yeah, so I'm basically waiting for the market to stabilize around like a good, solid like budget performance card, like the video card equivalent of the Ryzen 2600X that I purchased. Like, it's not like a hyper enthusiast one, but it's a very solid proposition that'll last a number of years.
Mhm.
Like, that's what I want. I'm willing to pay for a card that will last me a few years, but I'm not willing to pay $3,000 for that. So
Yeah, no.
yeah.
It- If you pay $230 for a card, it should last you 2 to 3 years at minimum.
Yeah, my current card is a couple years old. It was being severely bottlenecked by everything else in my computer, so I'll probably be able to squeeze a bit of juice out of it.
Yeah.
Wasn't a great card, even when I got it, but it'll serve my purpose.
What card is
Anyway.
it? Out of curiosity.
I'm not even... Radiant.
I don't have a clue about the Radian numbers.
Okay.
What model is what?
It's an R9 380X,
Okay.
so I don't know what that means.
I don't know Radeon product line numbers and how good they are.
Anyway, let's get back to the email.
Yes.
Seraphis says, Vol talked about having an MMO to play, and the current free one is probably Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 I've reinstalled and tried to pick up several times, but I can't play it with people. It's not. The world feels a bit sort of weird and sparse to me. I don't really enjoy it unless I've got somebody to play alongside the whole time. He writes, if you however loosen the definition of MMO, then it is actually Warframe, which just got an expansion, literally communism. Worker rights and body part repossession on a corporate-owned debt colony. Actually, this is all fine and dandy. The main problem with Warframe is that even Eve does a better job at explaining mechanics and opportunities to a new player. Pro tip, join a clan and buy the blueprints for the Ignis, because it's a ridiculously good weapon against pretty much any target. Yeah, and to illustrate what he just said, I have no idea what that pro tip means. So,
what's a blueprint?
The way
what's an Ignis?
in order to craft something in Warframe, you need to find or buy a blueprint first. Then you need to farm up all its materials in order to make its components. Then finally assemble the weapon.
So, like,
yeah, I guess, kind of like Eve.
The thing is, the only thing I care about is looking fabulous.
Oh yeah, you can always look fabulous, but if you want to look really fabulous, you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, so in a game like that, like I wouldn't be playing it in any sort of like high-end fashion because I just have that time I did for WoW back in the day. So I would be looking for something that I feel is a play style that I particularly enjoy executing on, and then mainly play with, you know, one or two other people or by myself. Like, I know it's an MMO, but I generally prefer to play in small groups.
Mm-hmm.
Very small groups.
Yeah.
Because I've done my raiding, thanks so very much.
I could be persuaded to reinstall Warframe. I know there's people.
I might give it a go at some point. It just looks so complicated.
There are people in my social circle who every couple of weeks just mention Warframe.
I assume that there must be some genre of videos on YouTube like Black Desert for beginners or Warframe for beginners that are not completely condescending and actually tell you information you need. The problem is that those type of things tend to be full of misinformation. Not malevolent, malicious misinformation. But the fact that anybody can anybody can assume that they have the right idea.
Yeah.
And make a there's no bar for competence required to pass on information on the internet. So yeah, I don't know how you would filter the muck from the diamonds when it comes to that sort of advisory content. Yeah. I guess you'd have to look. I also don't want to look for streamers because streamers also have other priorities, which is being popular. So yeah. You kind of want to find somebody who's got the skinny, who can tell you the stuff that you actually need to know and the stuff that you can actually push aside for later.
Basically,
you don't need to get obsessed on.
Basically, we need to go make a friend that plays this game and talk to them.
Yeah, where's Fuzzy? If you can get him to stop, being down on himself for a few minutes, he can tell you everything you need. But
I'll try to give him a Christmas gift this year and hope he doesn't send it back. I love you, Fuzzy. I'm just poking fun at you, buddy. I love you. I promise.
Right. As for my main topic for the email, Epic Battle Fantasy V. I'm having tons of fun with it. I would say it's about as much of a step up from 4 as 4 was to 3. The music is great, the gameplay is further polished, the block puzzles still piss everyone off, and you get to beat up your party members before recruiting them. There is also a plot slightly more complex than a bunch of kids stealing everything that's not nailed down and saving the world while at it. The premium version is going to be released on the 30th, while the free one is coming up early next year.
Excellent.
Yes. It's kind of telling about the game industry that my most expected titles are all indies save for Doom Eternal. Insert Warcraft Go rant here.
I really, really hope that was a rumour. An unsubstantiated rumour.
Yeah, I mean, it came from Schreier, who is dubious, but occasionally he does. The thing with Schreier is that I think that he's, on average, I think he's a scumbag.
Oh yeah, everyone does.
But he does do reportage now and again.
When he's got no other
and
choice.
It's almost impossible to tell when he's doing legitimate journalism and when he's being a scumbag.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, embedded in all that scum, he does really top quality journalistic research and produces work that is really legitimate. It's just that you can't tell.
Yeah.
It's like you tell enough lies, like you tell one lie, you're a liar. You tell enough lies, you're a pathological liar. And it doesn't matter if you tell the truth. The boy cried wolf too many. So, yeah. But Epic Battle Fantasy V, I might be obliged to play it because there's an achievement called Unlimited Blade Works. So,
I'll play it sooner or later, but because the previous ones were just dumb, goofy fun.
Yeah.
They're not
I've never
exactly
sat down and played a
high
full one.
production value games because they're done in Flash. But yeah, they're self-aware enough just to be dumb and goofy and just an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, it's been on the try them out list for a bit-ish now, but yeah.
Yeah. So
I've never sat down and finished one, so...
Just for a bit of context too, by the way, this Warcraft Go thing was in response to a rumor of a Warcraft skin for a Pokemon Go-like game.
They've expanded on that a little bit and claimed that, what is actually going on here is that it's going to be starting with that concept, and they're going to build considerably on it. Like, it's not going to be a reskinned Go. It's going to have a reskinned Go as an element within it. Presumably, they're going to do something like expanding on their creature battling thing, the vanity pet battling thing.
Oh, right. I was wondering where they're going to go with it because Pokemon Go
Well, that's
works for Pokemon.
That's my assumption. I've got no evidence. Okay.
It's about the only thing that makes sense, honestly.
But Pet Battles is Pokemon, so...
It is Pokemon, yeah.
And what's more, it's such a hyper-simplified Pokemon that you could probably jam it into a mobile game with more fidelity than you have from Pokemon Go.
Yep.
And you could probably actually put in battling against other people.
Incidentally,
and that sort of thing.
Quick tangent for probably a very first news article that we really weren't going to touch. They're apparently adding that to Pokemon Go now.
Yeah, I've heard that, but the point is that they didn't before because it was way too hard.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure how it would work, honestly, but we'll see.
Yeah, like they can't even get the gym battles to sync properly half the time.
Yeah.
It's actually going to be Warcraft Grand Order, and we're never going to see Volasil again. We're going to have to go down, fly to New Zealand, and rescue him from his phone.
Warcraft Grand Order.
The Warcraft setting doesn't have any good waifus.
Yeah, they all go kind of crazy. Or die.
Oh no, it'll be the fake characters coming into the Warcraft universe as the crossover.
Oh, if there was a Fate MMO that was properly realized and not like the Shin Megami Tensei one, should have known again, then you will lose me and I'll never come out.
If the SMT MMO had been good, y'all might still be trying to fish me out of that game.
But it was.
That's my baby.
It was hot garbage.
Yeah. Vol is to Type Moon as Ari is to SMT.
Yes. Alright, so thank you for the email, Seraphis. Yeah. You know what? Given if we get some time over the holidays, I might actually sit my face straight into Epic Final Fantasy. I'm really going to go and finish the other ones, actually.
Yeah, I might have some time to play some games over the holidays. I'm not going to visit my family this year because, honestly, I hadn't booked the leave in advance, and I really don't paying like Christmas season. My goodness, it's expensive.
Oh,
but
yes.
Yeah, like it would be, even at Christmas season, it is cheaper for me to visit my extended family in Australia sometimes than to visit my immediate family in New Zealand.
Good
That's
grief.
what domestic flights are like in the country. It's bonkers. So yeah, so I'll probably be cooling my heels at home. I don't really have any friends in the city as such. Not anymore because they've all moved away. So I'll be cooling my heels here probably and have time to really lose myself in some video.
I'd like
for
to
first
go.
time in goodness.
I'd like to go somewhere, but if I want to travel anywhere at all, it costs almost as much as a small mortgage. So
yeah, and I know people like to say, "Oh, Christmas is family time," but I prefer to visit my family during normal times. Like during Christmas, like for me, Christmas is a very, very religiously focused occasion. Like I spend a lot of that season in church, and I prefer the peace and quiet on Christmas Day rather than the chaos. Like when you come into Christmas, it's from the silly season. Like things have already been mad.
Oh, yes.
I don't like Christmas to be mad as well. I like to like cook myself an enormous meal, gorge myself, and play some video games.
And pass it.
That's my ideal Christmas. Like I've got to take care of my religious obligations and then relax. I don't want. That's how I celebrate. I celebrate by goofing off. I don't celebrate by having a tense dinner with relatives you can't remember the names of.
Yeah.
I have a big family.
Christmas in my family's always been a chaotic affair because, again, big family. So it's, get out early, do the presents, and inevitably argue about who goes to dinner.
Stop a fist.
Oh my goodness.
Go out, shoot the Christmas tree.
What about shooting a Christmas tree? We did that once.
Yeah, see? I was being semi-sarcastic.
Things that only happen in the South.
That happened. Although, thankfully, the family has been dying. Most people wouldn't say thankfully at the start of that sentence, but it's the South. So, the Great Dying has happened, so there are less people around at Christmas.
The Great Dying?
Wow.
Dude, like, 7 months ago is about when the Great Dying ended. And like,
an entire generation of your family just decided to pop their clogs all at once.
I went to 9 funerals in the 2 years before 7 months ago. Like, everybody died.
Wow.
It's like, it sounds terrible, but you go to that many funerals, that back to back to back to back to back, and you just start to, like, die a little inside. And you just can't care anymore.
It's like, I think that my tear ducts have been strained beyond their capacity to function.
Like, there's a serious emotional crippling that happens where you just don't care anymore if you go to that many in a row. Like, that's a thing. It happens. You just kind of accept it.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do when you've got that many funerals on your plate? Get completely overwrought over all of them? Like people shut down emotionally after these sorts of things as a preservation method. Because if you get fully upset for every funeral as much as you do for the first or most important one, you would break. As a human being, you would implode.
Like, there were only 2 I got upset for, and that was Granddaddy and Nana. Like, my grandparents on my mom's side, they were the only ones I had enough reserve left to actually care about. I'm like, okay, everybody else, y'all dead now. I'll see you in like 20 years when I die of something poisoning.
Something poisoning?
Yeah.
Like, not sure what yet. I'm not living past 50, you kidding me? If I live past 50, shoot me.
Like, you've got to make sure you don't. If you want to live a bit long, you're going to keep empty cans that you might use as urine receptacles on your desk.
That only happened once, and I was incredibly drunk at the time.
You realise that to most people it never happens at all?
I was
and by most, drunk. I mean like 99.99999% of the population never deliberately drink their own urine.
Bear Grylls did it.
Bear Grylls is weird.
I guess he's still alive. He's supposedly quite good at that.
Yeah, it's because he spends half of his, survival time cooped up in the cast's caravan.
Yeah, I've heard that show's largely a scam.
Yeah, it's by much fake.
But he still drinks his urine anyway.
Maybe he just enjoys it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what most people think at this point. Okay, let's drop this topic. There's bound to be something better to talk about than this.
Let's talk Vidya.
Yeah, thank you for the email, Serathis. We love you. Send us more emails.
Yeah, let's go somewhere a little bit less disturbing, shall we?
Bit more sanitary.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me see. Let's start off with some small stuff. Nintendo Creation Club is gone. Or Creators Program, I should say. That
alternatively titled. Yeah. Like, the alternative title for this article could be Nintendo realizes that they actually want free advertising revenue.
Nintendo realizes how the internet works.
Yeah. Free advertising.
So
we sell more products this way. Who'da thunk?
So, for those who don't remember, this is the idiotic scheme where Nintendo will more or less put a big claim on a YouTuber's advertising revenue if they're using a Nintendo product and give them, a pittance back. And if you don't sign on, they will nuke your channel from orbit.
Yep.
Thus
generous.
The really, really crappy photoshops I put into the E3 episode.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I thought they may have been crappy from a Photoshop perspective, but I think that they had great satirical value. I hope you're proud of it.
I am. and also slightly disturbed with myself. So it's gone. In its place is a fairly bog standard set of guidelines. So you can use their content provided using it for commentary. You can stick their gameplay up on stream without any too big difficulty. Just don't, copy and paste their Nintendo Treehouse or trailers or whatnot without any sort of additional commentary, and you're good to go.
Yeah. Don't post the actual copyrighted content, but if you play the game, you're good to go.
Yeah. So it's all fairly bog standard now.
I think that basically, like, Nintendo is sort of like the Catholic Church of the video games world, in that, they just have a humongous amount of inertia, so nothing ever changes.
Mm-hmm. And
when it comes, if you want to do an overview or a modernization of anything, it's going to take 20 years longer than the next person, because there's so much paper to get through, and the people at the top are very, very old.
Yes. And they are not comfortable with change.
Their bodies are not ready.
Is that Reggie? Reggie's it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that Reggie has been, like, for Nintendo, I think that they don't leverage him enough, because a successful meme is worth its weight in gold and platinum,
absolutely.
every other precious metal. And number two, I think that Reggie is sort of what they need, because he's not actually scared to embrace the meme like most of the rather stolid Nintendo higher-ups who they don't want to come out of their ivory tower because it's scary out there.
Yep.
Like the real movers and shakers who have moved Nintendo forward have always been the people who are good with the people, like, Miyamoto and Iwata and Reggie. Like the rest of the bureaucrats just slow everything down for the most part.
Yeah, Miyamoto's always been a very personable, slightly creepy face for Nintendo.
Yeah, but people recognize him because he may be slightly creepy, but he seems to like the people.
I swear, his cause of death is going to be the top of his head falling off.
Yeah,
he smiles that much.
Nobody can grin that far around the back of their head safely.
No.
Yeah. But those people, they're, Miyamoto's not going to be around forever.
Nope.
He must be getting pretty old by now.
He's in his 50s.
Yeah. Like, he ain't going to be around forever.
Yeah. By video game industry standards, that's ancient.
Yeah, he's, like, decrepit. But, Iwata's not around anymore.
Nope.
Like, they need to hand the torch on to somebody to be the face of Nintendo, and they don't have the great developing greats anymore. Like most of the big video games companies, the faces that made them rock stars don't hang around forever. Some of them remain great for a long time, and some of them become Ramiro. But
at least we still have
generally
Ramiro's hair.
See, the thing with Ramiro is that he's not doing anything worth a damn. But
he's just a host for his hair.
We're going to end up moving into this phase in the games industry where a crash will become increasingly likely because every company is run by Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
If not literally, then at least figuratively.
Yeah, the AAA industry is very progressively, but certainly progressing in that direction.
Yeah, and this I suppose, where I think that we're in for rough time. Like, the games industry has become staggeringly cynical, and it's going to have to die back through. It's just like the Catholic Church has done every 400 years or so.
Yes,
because it has become so corrupt that it has to die back to get back to what was actually important to begin with.
Yeah,
but this is likely to happen to gaming, I think. I mean, if you look at the loot box debacle being investigated by every government body in the world at this point, plus, what we're going to talk about going forward in the show, because, Todd Howard, just the things have gotten so cynical. The games industry seems to run on loot box now. Like, most of the money that is brought in by EA comes from people buying packages of loot box DLC for FIFA, for Madden, for NBA 2K, whatever, that's, number one, it's a sustainable model, but it runs on human fuel.
Mm.
Because the people that whale literally die of it. Like, that's what happens. Ultimately, it will kill them or they will quit. Because it's an addiction.
Yep.
Whaling is an addiction. It ruins you. It ruins you as a person. It ruins families. Your entire industry is going to develop the reputation that a seedy casino has at the rate that they're going.
It's already getting pretty close to that.
Yeah, it's getting there, and that's what I mean. It's drifting in the direction of, you know, gaming culture as a whole is going to go through cultural suicide currently, especially now that we've got things like Fortnite. Fortnite has targeted children ostensibly. Like no gamer with, you know, a lick of class is interested in playing Fortnite, pretty much.
But if you go down to the supermarket and you got, you know, those little gaming magazines that Disney does that are aimed at 10-year-olds, Fortnite is on the front cover everywhere.
Yeah, and Fortnite's a gambling shilling engine, and a very powerful and efficient one at that. Like they are trying to raise a generation of gambling addicts to fuel a games industry which runs on gacha.
Yep.
That's the final objective, and you know the reality is FGO has the worst gacha rates in the world, but it's better than the mainstream gaming industry at giving you what you want.
At least it's honest.
So, yeah, like they didn't have to be asked by China to reveal what the odds were.
Yeah.
But then this is just like the whole industry has become so deeply cynical that it's an environment where something like Fallout 76 can come out and people will still defend it, like to the hilt,
propped up
like
by
Octale.
an incestuous media.
Yeah, like that. And I saw a video the other day suggesting that ultimately, and this is just a theory that somebody is espousing. Like, I'm not saying it's true or not. Like there's probably an element of truth to it. Like most of these, somebody is pushing this theory that this ultimately ties back to our good old buddy Metacritic and the necessity to get the progressive talking heads in games media to like your game in order to get your bonus.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about cultural warriorism at all on some level. The games journalists are a cultural warrior. The people producing the game are ultimately realize that if they personally want their pay packet to be reasonable, then they need the game to be successful with people who hate game.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to use brute force methods to try and get people to part with their cash, because they've got to reinvest their money in trying to make sure that they can get paid by appealing to people on a basis that has nothing to do with video games. So this is another theory that I've seen kicking. Yeah, so getting back to the hand, Nintendo realizing this late is, you know, it's good that they realize this, but I'm wondering what's going to happen as the everybody else races on ahead of them, as everybody always does.
Yeah.
Like despite the fact that Nintendo have gotten sort of like a meta reputation of being incredibly evil in certain ways because of their incredibly tyrannical, iron-fisted control over certain things, the fact that they move with such inertia might actually save them from the gaming crash.
I can see that. Like, they're only really just now starting to really look in DLC, or even as after release patches as a viable option for a game.
Yeah.
But,
and this goes back to the Catholic Church analogy I made. Mm-hmm. The church survives for a huge amount of time because they don't move with trends.
Yep.
They don't update quickly. They don't change anything. They write everything down and keep doing everything the old way. And when the world crashes around them, they still have everything still functional. Yeah. And and they pick up the pieces and move culture onward again. Yeah. And I think that Nintendo may entirely on accident end up in that position simply because they haven't thrown their lot in 110% with running the entire industry on loot box.
Yeah. Like,
they may nickel and dime you like crazy on every other angle, but haven't actually turned their beloved IPs into gambling engines yet.
No. And by and large, their games will release in working order.
Yeah, because they don't actually consider themselves to have finished the product until it's done. There's no early access for the latest Mario.
No.
And they don't compete internally within a generation. You get roughly one mainline Mario game per generation. They aren't trying to release one every year. They're trying to release a real blockbuster every generation.
Yeah, and how many non-Nintendo AAA games last year are notable for being finished?
None.
Spider-Man?
Yeah,
I
think that one of the big things that the industry is missing right now is that Nintendo is not less beloved for the way they do things. And they still do things the old way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the fact that we have to call it the old way when we're talking about just finishing your game.
Yes.
That basically tells you everything you need to know about the state of the industry, right?
Seriously, dudes. When we buy the video game, we expect the whole video game.
Right. That was largely a tangent to give Ari time to get back from his RO.
Yeah, RO commands happened. But they only took 3 minutes. I got back pretty quick.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just looking for a point to jump back in.
We've foreshadowed enough, I think. Let's talk about Baggate. Or Nylon Gate. Take your pick.
Baggate!
Baggate.
You could call it Canvas Gate, except apparently there isn't any in the world.
Yeah, apparently Canvas Gate is wrong because there's no canvas.
In the world, anywhere.
This is the funniest part of this. The fact that there is no canvas material left in the world.
So, the good news is Bethesda kind of woke up and said, okay, here we are. Here's some problems with Fallout 76 where we acknowledge, here's the patch notes we're going to fix. Great. But then the very next day, this blows up. Because people started getting their collector's editions.
It's like watching a dumpster fire, and the dumpster fire starts to go down a little bit, and somebody comes in with a can of gasoline and chucks it back in the dumpster.
Yeah.
And just watches the flame grow back up again.
Honestly, I've been very impressed with the whole affair. The dumpster fire that is Bethesda has just raged unceasing. Unceasing.
Yeah.
On and on and on and on. They just can't trip over themselves hard enough.
I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt because I liked the core of the game, but come on, there's something even nobody can defend.
Well, the core of the game was copy and pasted from Fallout 4.
Well, yeah.
It was found out that was literally the case because if you gut it to get the code out, all of the code comments all refer to Fallout 4 and Fallout 4 things.
Oh yeah.
Those things which are not actually referring to Skyrim.
Yeah.
Because the boss is a reskinned Skyrim dragon with all the same scripts.
Yeah. When I played it, I went in fully expecting that. I'm not sure really how other people actually expected otherwise, but anyway. That's not what we're here about.
Remember, this is the most work they put into a Bethesda game of all time, so says Todd Howard.
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, you could get RSI if you do Control-C, Control-V enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've already banged on that drum enough. Let's talk about the new thing to bang on.
So you know how we like to make fun of collection editions that list their packaging?
They come in a box.
Yeah, I'll have one after this just to be a segue, but we'll get to that in a minute.
It also comes in a box.
But, yeah, so this one came in a bag.
Which also came in a box, by the way.
Yeah, it came in a bag in a box.
Yeah, a box in a bag.
I actually watched an unboxing video. The box is also inside another box.
That's meta.
And also listed as part of the collection edition.
Good grief, why do they keep doing this?
I don't know, but it's the funniest trend in gaming whenever I see a box listed as one of the features for the collector's edition.
It'll never not be funny. So, yeah, the collector's edition for Fallout 76, among a couple of other boondoggles for within the game, came with a Enclave helmet, which is actually kind of cool. Also expensive.
No, it looks like a plastic piece of crap.
Well, yeah.
Looks like another cat helmet.
I've seen some footage of it being fiddled around with, And like you need to really be drinking the juice to think it's cool because it's really low quality. The inside looks like a cheap hard hat.
That's actually to be not surprising at all.
But that thing's not the problem. That's not Easter egg tier. We've somehow got below Easter egg tier.
Yeah, the bag.
The bag that is listed, which is touted to be this, duffel bag with Fallout emblemization on it. It looks cool. I can't see what the bag actually says. I assume it's something Fallout related.
West Tech.
But yeah, so you got this bag. It's touted to be a functional, nice bag that's part of the collection edition.
Mm-hmm.
Until it melts.
Yeah, they advertised a full, very sturdy construction canvas bag, which actually, as far as good grief, as far as bags go, looks pretty good.
I mean, it's just a bag. A bag isn't exactly hard to make. Canvas bags are all over the place.
Yeah.
Find them on every single clothes store right next to the purses.
Except
I have
apparently
one.
they're not.
My usual day satchel is a canvas bag.
You got one of those bags of holding, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but unfortunately, there's no more canvas left in the world.
Apparently the world has run out of canvas.
It's all gone.
So
Because basically there's been this was not really an issue. Like, nobody had really said anything about this. Fallout's special edition has been out a while. Lots and lots of people have done unboxing videos for it online. But someone who was justifiably unhappy about the fact that it says on the marketing material that it's a canvas bag, and when you receive it, well, it's manifestly not a canvas bag.
It's a nylon bag.
The nastiest,
Yeah.
nastiest, thinnest, grossest nylon you can imagine.
It's not a good nylon bag. Like, you can have a good nylon bag, and had they come out and said, here is... Well, we couldn't get or source a manufacturer for the canvas bags, so we swapped it out for a nylon one, but it's the same design and it's of equal quality. Here you go. Nobody would have said about that.
If you get nylon... If you get the right sort of nylon weave, you can do a passable imitation of canvas.
Yeah.
In a poor light.
Even so, though,
But-
it would still be a sturdy construction and, actually usable.
Yeah. Well, what actually happened is they didn't say anything. Period.
Yeah.
And this guy, justifiably upset, decided to raise a question with the store staff, and so when he did this, he got a reply, and here's the reply from Bethesda Gear Store he received in the email. We are sorry that you aren't happy with the bag. The bag shown in the media was a prototype and was too expensive to make. We aren't planning on doing anything about it.
Yeah. Look,
So that's not what I call PR management.
I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate there. I think that response just doesn't quite sit right. I think it's actually a fake. But regardless,
I don't think it's a fake at all. It's not a fake at all because Bethesda have acknowledged that it was real.
Oh, you're kidding me. Okay, well that's that.
They threw the employee under the bus and claimed, "Oh, he was just a contractor. He doesn't represent us."
Oh, I bet they did.
Yeah, they threw him under the bus with grand vigor, but that doesn't make him less employed by Bethesda.
Yeah, well, it does now. He's extremely not employed by Bethesda now.
Now he's less employed by Bethesda. But the fact that they don't like what he said doesn't mean he wasn't working for them.
Yeah. So
We aren't planning on doing anything about it is the worst thing you can say to an angry customer.
Yeah. So
I cannot string together a worse sentence for you to tell somebody.
Polygon followed this up, and Bethesda told them, and I think they said this to a number of other outlets as well. The support response was incorrect and not in accordance with our conduct policy.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, due to unavailability of materials, we had to switch to a nylon carrying case of the Fallout 76 Power Armor Edition. We hope this doesn't prevent anyone from enjoying what we feel is one of our best collector's editions.
All the canvas in the world. It's all gone.
Oh God. Good grief.
Last time I was in a clothes store and I looked next to the purses, I was pretty sure I saw quite a few nylon bags there.
Yeah, but they're not canvas. Canvas bags don't exist.
Okay,
Yeah, that's why I meant canvas bags.
there are two additional heads to this Hydra that make it particularly cynical and amusingly so.
It's a very dumb-looking Hydra, by the way. This thing's cockeyed.
Yeah,
Always.
this is Hillbilly Hydra, whose parents were siblings. But yeah, so no offense meant to Aristeel from coming for that part of the country.
If anybody who listens to the show is an artist that can draw Hillbilly Hydra, the three-headed Hillbilly Hydra, I will make it official art for the show.
We are going to throw this this challenge down. I want to see this too.
So
Anybody with actual talent can draw it. I will give you credit, and I will make it official artwork.
4 points. It should be wearing a Fallout 76 shirt.
So they have decided that they're going to offer 500 atoms of in-game currency to people who feel like they got scammed
Yeah,
out of the bag.
approximately
So-
$5 worth of in-game funny money.
$5. Number one, you can't buy anything for 500 atoms worth of damn.
No,
It's like you buy a hairdo or something.
you can buy emotes.
An
There's a
emote?
few emotes, a couple of the costumes that you can just get through gameplay anyway.
The
That's about it.
Icons.
The delicious
Icons.
irony pointed out by Chris Livingston on Twitter was that it costs 700 atoms to buy the Fallout 76 Postman skin that has a canvas bag.
Ooh, I like that.
Right, so the thing about this is what the Federal Trade Commission's, according to the Federal Trade Commission's rules, what Bethesda has done is false advertising, straight up and down.
Yeah.
It will take a bit of legal finagling to convince them to investigate it, but if they do and they don't get bought off, it's pretty much guaranteed that Bethesda will be found wanting here, because they've got several conditions required for something to be false advertising, and pretty much Bethesda's checked most of the available boxes,
Yeah.
so they can be gotten from multiple different angles
Now, normally,
on this being false advertising.
normally these lawsuits don't go anywhere. These class actions against game companies, because they're usually just written off and thrown out the window somewhere. But this one, I think, now that this has all come out and really come to a head, is going to have some real legs on it.
Yeah, you could get some mileage out of this one. The thing is, this 500 atoms thing is not just a paltry, half-hearted attempt to improve their PR. This is a scam as well. The purpose of offering this is to get people to take it up. Because if people take it up, then they have accepted compensation for the crime that they feel was committed against them, and are therefore no longer able to complain.
Yep.
That's what this is for.
once
This
you
is not an off.
Once compensation is accepted in this sort of case, that's it.
It's closed.
it's
That's
closed.
it. You've got no leg to stand on. This entire offer, the reason it is so low is because it's a very, very cheap scam. It doesn't matter what the amount is. I think 500 is the smallest amount you can actually buy at one time. The
I
point
think
is
so.
just to get something to them, because the 500 atoms cost them zero. No, nothing. And when people spend them, it also costs Bethesda nothing. So they really are not offering anything. This is a trick to get people to basically abdicate their ability to pursue this complaint.
Yeah.
The other branch of their cynicism is the fact that while the design is different, Fallout 76 canvas bags were given to their YouTube influencers that they paid to wine and dine and basically ship them piles of free crap in order to get them to. Like they got canvas. The design
they
is
got the
different.
last canvas in the world.
Yes.
People are making a big deal about the fact that the design is different, but the fact is they still gave free canvas bags to people who would turn them a profit.
Yeah, the design being different
As opposed to the
doesn't
people who
change
actually
very
pay
much
them.
at all, really.
Yeah, like and what's more, it gives comical lie to the fact that there is no canvas available. So yeah, there's no canvas available for people who don't advertise our product for.
Yes.
But
So yeah, if
Yeah.
you were dumb enough to buy this thing, it may be an inbred hillbilly hydra, but its blood is still poisonous. Do not accept that 500 atoms.
Yeah.
Do not.
I don't know what will come of this, but the actual action you should take is just to never ever give Bethesda another. This entire game, from start to finish, regardless of what you might like or dislike about the gameplay and the lore and so on and so forth, the entire thing has been a money spinning scam from start to finish. There's no redemptive quality to their approach. Their attitude towards their fans has been staggeringly poor. Their quality of product has been staggeringly poor. Their support for those who are upset by this is staggeringly poor. This has just been about getting people to spend, and in the cheapest way possible.
Yeah. If you weren't you should at the very least never buy a Fallout product from them again, and you preferably should not buy anything from them again after this disaster.
Yeah.
This is a real poor show. Like, they've made every imaginable mistake here. Like, their whole deal with the refunds was bad enough, where they, said that, oh well, we'll give refunds to anybody who hasn't downloaded the game. And they said, oh, but we didn't actually ship a physical game because people who bought the physical copy just got an empty box with a cardboard disc in it and a download code. So everybody actually downloaded the game. And then in the end, what it resolved is the class action lawsuit saying that the refusal to offer refunds was not legitimate was evaded by Bethesda saying, oh, well, because it's an online game and everybody downloads it, it means that we didn't actually sell anybody a product. We just licensed. Therefore, we can't give them a refund because there was no product.
Unfortunately, you probably had to click a EULA going into it too.
Yep,
so.
That's what EULAs are for. They are to ensure that you can be scammed out of whatever is necessary for the company offering the EULA to make a quick buck. This.
But
so yeah,
they've got a few precedences against them. Like, you cannot do that under Australian law.
Yeah, that it works in some places, doesn't work in other places.
Yeah.
The consumer commissions in Australia and New Zealand like to go after companies like Bethesda with
yes, they go at them with, pickaxe and chainsaw.
Yeah. So it's probably Bethesda won't actually suffer any penalties front. However, they basically can't get out from under the weight of bad PR because they kept piling on more bad PR in the hopes that the problem would just magically disappear if they used enough of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that this is ultimately going to redound to the severe detriment. This is just them following the same old pattern that we've seen so many others, like Blizzard is currently undergoing, where they've played their Rockstar image just one too many times.
Yeah.
It just have to suffer through 2 or 3 years of not very many great games coming out when all these old farts can't make games and nobody buys them and they go out of business for a bit until new people come around.
Yeah, poor old Octale is out there furiously defending Fallout 76 on points that nobody cares about.
There was a line in a YouTube video I liked about that called out all the people defending this game. And it was something along the lines of, lighting poop on fire with friends is fun. Anything with friends can be fun.
Yeah, well, I mean...
and that's the only argument I see in defense of this game.
Octale is defending against things online. Like, when he's defending it, he's always talking about how, oh, well, the NPCs in the other Fallouts weren't that great or interesting anyway. But the thing is oh, well, there are no NPCs in it. That doesn't sound very good. Like, that was a worry that people had when it was announced. It is not what people are talking about anymore. It's not why people are decrying it. People are decrying it now because they feel that it is an emblem of Bethesda's total disdain for the people who pay their bill.
And by the way,
Octale, what it is.
Octale, I love you, buddy, but I can go back and download Octale and Hordak episodes where I promise I can find you praising some NPC in Fallout, at least New Vegas.
Well, these days he says that, oh, Three Dog was only amusing for a while.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's because
you only carried that meme on for months.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Like, you can't excuse the fact that they have decided to go full cynicism, full exploitation, just because you like the Fallout universe and you like wandering around shooting super mutants. Like, I'm sure that's great if you're into Fallout, but
yeah, the story is not
the dragons.
Dumb decisions they've made in the gameplay design, and it's really not even the laziness at this point. It's all kind of been overshadowed by just their pretty scummy behavior.
Yeah, most people don't even really know that the boss is a reskinned Skyrim dragon because they've made their their
Mothman.
PR front has become such a boogeyman that nobody cares about the game anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody has sort of like a vague idea that it's kind of crap, and that's what's reflected by both critics and non-critical apparatus users about alike. Both think that
Don't we
it's
just call that?
somewhere.
Don't we just call those game journalists?
Well, games journalists, I'm not quite sure what sort of breed. Like, if you look at Metacritic, the games journalists have fallen in line because they pretty much have. Defending this debacle would become an unforgivable sin if they have lost so much of their reputation they can't afford to get behind.
Last I saw the critic line for reviews was sitting around 50%,
Yeah, so that's
which
you know
is absolutely
twice as high as whatever the user one is. I'm sure.
Oh, the user one's sitting about a 2 out of 10.
Yeah,
At best.
and that's just a it's a rough barometer of people's reaction to it, and they reacted poorly because they feel like they've been sold a product they didn't get, and maybe they were, maybe they weren't, but the people who bought that collector's edition were legitimately and legally sold a product that they didn't get.
Yeah.
So that's going to stick to Bethesda no matter what you want to say about the game.
Yep.
The only positive thing to come out of this is right now I'm trying to think of a name for the Hillbilly Hydra. Literally the only good thing I can think that Fallout 76 has done.
But yeah, the stupidity in this whole bag gate, nylon gate debacle is that if Bethesda had just issued a statement saying we're having difficulty sourcing the materials to produce the canvas bag we advertised, or their $200 edition, whatever they want to call it, we're going to have to replace it with a nylon product. It would have resulted in precisely 0 cancellations of pre-order. 0.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody would have cancelled their pre-order because they said that the canvas bag was now a nylon one.
We've seen
They
that
might have been
happen before.
unhappy. They might have been unhappy with the nylon bag when they got it, but they wouldn't cancel their pre-order over it, and there wouldn't be this debacle over it because they had said what was happening.
Yeah.
But no, now they're up a creek without a paddle for false advertising, and it's because they didn't care.
And maybe if you'd at least made the nylon bag sturdy enough so it doesn't literally melt in any temperature above 80 degrees, you wouldn't have people so mad at you about it.
Well, that's just this is the state of the games industry as it is, and you'll laugh or you'll cry, one or the other.
Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and continue to be smug about Battlefield though. How it's tanking in sales.
Yeah, much like Fallout 76, which is also tanking in sales.
Yeah.
Battlefield was at half price, I think, a week after release.
As was Fallout 76.
Yep. It's just you if you do these things, you're going to pay the consequences.
It's the Andromeda.
Bethesda's paying a price for egregious mishandling of their public image, basically. That's what this is about. This is not about whether or not there are NPCs or NPCs.
Yeah,
whether
before
the
we can
game
even approach
requires
those,
NPCs.
you've got to really look at the company and what they're doing.
Yeah, you've got to look at Todd Howard's lying face. So
I think we're going to call the Hillbilly Hydra Hot Tower.
What tower?
After Todd Howard.
Oh,
After Todd Howard.
okay.
right, okay, but
Right.
I've created a monster.
Yes, you are quite a literal monster in this case, I think.
Yeah, so Bethesda, pull finger. You guys, you suck. You suck.
Yeah.
You're behaving sucky. Fire everybody responsible. Find somebody who gives a crap.
And put a boot up
gonna
Todd
have to
Howard's
do-
butt.
Yeah.
Todd Howard needs to be put out to pasture. Like, people want to hit his smug face when they see it now.
Yes.
He is not going to have a good time in his career after this disaster.
Incidentally, there is a headlining slot in next week's video game nepotism awards for Todd Howard.
It's like these video game shows, like they're always just trying to find a new bottom of the barrel to scrape.
Aren't they just?
Oh,
So we're going to get good and angry about that next week.
in the meantime, We've been talking about this a lot. You want to segue on to something else?
Yep, let's move on.
All right. So, speaking of collector's editions,
Does it come in a box?
In the grand tradition of the show, where we have to make fun of everything that lists the box as a feature, the Devil May Cry collector's edition, or Devil May Cry 5 collector's edition, has come out, and it's been revealed what we're going to get in the U.S. Unfortunately, we do not get $7,000 leather jackets. We instead get a light-up van.
Wait, what?
Well, I don't know if it lights up. Everybody's trying to figure out if the dumb thing lights up. So, in the game, Nero has taken his Devil May Cry spin-off shop on the road in this little RV thing. And you get a replica model of the RV. Now, keep in mind, this is Capcom.
Not Monster Hunter Capcom either.
The Easter eggs happened.
Oh boy.
The Easter eggs were
I'll be honest, that doesn't look like something that lights up to.
Yeah, I don't think it does. But yeah, the Easter eggs were a thing. This thing could literally fall apart the second you take it out of the box.
Hey, but you'll still have that box.
Yes, you do.
But you will have that box. At least this box looks like it's fairly sturdily built from the picture, has latches on it, and a handle.
So it's a fancy box. It's not just a cardboard
once you
box.
when you receive it, you'll find that it is made of cardboard, that it's painted to look that way, and those latches are just pictures. That's what's gonna happen.
Or if they want to be really fancy, they're stickers.
This would be one of the times where I could praise a box for looking like a decent box, and you could get away with putting that on the collection edition. But it's Capcom, and you have to remember the Easter eggs. You can never let them forget the Easter eggs. For those that are unaware, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite gave you Infinity Stones in its collection edition, and they were literally Easter eggs.
Quote, Infinity Stones, unquote.
that were glued to felt.
Like, the concept art, or the promotional art rather, looks like they were kind of these glass gems with, squirty bits in them. But what they actually got was just a solid colored piece of plastic.
You got an Easter egg with an LED light bulb in it, which universally didn't work.
Yes.
But the Infinity Egg.
That were glued to the case. So never ever let Capcom forget about the Easter eggs. Yeah. You get a cloth print, which is basically a big mouse pad. You get a bumper sticker that says I Love Osaka, a pin that you can put on your jacket and stuff, an art book, the replica model van, what you hope is a good case, although both the van could be a loaf of bread and the box could literally be made of paper, for all we know. And the video game. So at least the video game's in this one. And it's the Digital Deluxe Edition, so you do get all the digital goodies for their mid-tier edition as well.
The thing is, I don't think the RV is cool. Like, it's never been in any Devil May Cry game. Damn.
And it contains an extremely annoying sidekick.
Yeah, if you had like a replica, a miniature rebellion or something in here, that would have been way cooler.
Yeah.
Practically anything would be cooler than an RV.
Yeah.
Like, nobody thinks RVs are cool.
No.
Yeah, like, the box doesn't look that good. The art on it's not so hot.
I'd take a voucher for pizza instead.
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
That would fit the theme pretty good.
Convenient censorship pizza?
But yeah. Yeah, no, not that pizza. No, bad firm. Bad firm.
It sunk in, and then he realized.
Yeah.
But yeah, all I really want is a proper big hardcover art book from my collector's edition. Like, I don't want any of the rest of the crap that these things usually have.
Yeah, and this one does come with an art book, but it is of a wonky scale in this picture, and we don't know how big it is.
Yeah, and also, like, art books, they run the gamut. I've received some incredibly anorexic art books in the past.
Yeah, the Catherine one is notorious for being quite small, but it did come with every copy of the game, at least. You didn't have to get the collector edition to get it.
Yeah.
You just had to get a day one copy. The Warcraft ones and the collector editions were actually worth it. I have one of them sitting on top of the Burning Crusade collector edition box to prop up my monitor.
I've actually got the Spore collector's art book around somewhere, which is hardcover.
Okay, so This is got the hardcover Warhammer Online, may God rest its soul, art book here, and it's really heavy paper stock, really nice hardcover stuff. How many pages is in here? It's really fat. It's like almost an inch thick. All of it is gorgeous images, full size, no words scrawled all over them. Like it's a really great art book from start to finish. And that was one of 2 hardcover books that were in the Warhammer Online Collector's Edition, because the other one was like a full graphic novel. Here is the Fate Extra one, which has, if we count the cover as a page, we'll count the leaves rather than pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages.
7.
7 pages.
Good
That's not art
gravy.
book. That's an art flyer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a pamphlet.
It's very much a pamphlet.
Like, yeah. So, I mean, it's hard to tell from the scaling on this picture how big this book is, because it's sat next to an inflated sized picture of the game in the game box, and it's set next to a not scale size of the RV, and we don't know how big anything is here, so who knows? The only thing...
We've got the Tales of Zillia one here as well. Do you have that one?
I probably have it laying around somewhere.
This one has last page number written down here is 39. So that's not doing too badly compared to the Fate Extra one.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
there's my
that's
small one.
Yeah, I would say 30 pages is acceptable for a collector edition art book at minimum.
I think the Spore one here has about 40 pages, but it's all 40 pages of, look, all these great ideas that we had for this game that we didn't actually put in the game.
Yeah, it looks like Atelier Tutori's one is also about 30 odd pages.
So
But these are also, these ones are like B5 size.
Yeah, there's
They're tiny. I don't know why they keep making tiny art books. Like, I want the enormous ones. If I had my way, all art books would be the size of my copy of Der Mond, which is the Yoshiyuki Sadamoto art book, which was mainly about Evangelion, but also has other projects. And it's too large to fit on my shelf. It's a lovely hardcover book. It has probably lots of pages. It's done in reverse order, so I can't actually work out where the final page is. It's got 118 pages, hardcover. It's about A3 size. Absolutely gorgeous book. I
That's
wish all art
huge.
books were like that instead.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, with this collector edition, the only thing I'm disappointed with, as far as the product listing, because we don't know the quality of anything yet, obviously, is there's no soundtrack.
Aw.
But
pull Bang Bang
who will pull the
Devil
devil trigger?
I know.
Trigger?
This game has been marketed almost entirely on the corniness of its soundtrack. How can they not have one in there?
I mean, you gotta have them thoughts running through your head.
I just misheard that as those thoughts running through your head.
That
Damn
was
it.
intentional.
Oh my
Incidentally,
goodness.
the thought audit continues to be hilarious.
Yes, the thought audit is always hilarious. Like, no, there's absolutely nothing morally wrong about dobbing in tax evaders and making a little profit on the side.
Yes.
Because, there's a bounty for tax evaders.
Yep.
You get a percentage of the money that's claimed.
Up to 30%,
So-
I believe.
Yep. So, I mean, if you know somebody who's, thotting around on whatever it is, Snapchat or Twitch or any of the platforms, earning lots and lots and lots of money, not paying a cent of the taxes that they're supposed to when they're running their thottery business.
Thottery.
I mean, it's like pottery. It's the thought. Then, you can just let the IRS know and you might get a little bit of money on the side.
If you happen to get
And I mean,
off
hey,
your
you're-
media, all the better.
You're cleaning up the media platform, you're doing your country a service, making a little bit of profit, and showing that those immoral industries are not worthwhile.
Or just that they don't belong on a platform.
Well, I mean, they can go do that thing. Like, there's like services for cam girl.
Yeah, there's whole sites
Yeah.
for that sort of thing.
Like, you could, if you really want to do that, you can do that over on the correct platform, and you won't be able to maintain the veneer of dignity that you're somehow not a prostitute because you're prostituting yourself on a gaming channel.
Thought is a thought.
That can get word trappy. But yeah,
Hey, try.
but yeah, that was not what I meant. But okay. So yeah, that was the obligatory. They put the box as a thing.
Yeah, I wish they'd stop that.
The box has made more promises than the average box, I feel, in this.
It has.
It's like premium, man, premium.
It's the premium box.
I still have the box for the Warhammer Online Collector's Edition. I use it to store documents.
If that thing is a legitimate trunk, mini trunk, I will use it to store documents. It'll be my new container for stuff about my car.
Your RV, you don't have.
Yes.
Yeah, like I will toss the RV out and just use that thing to store documents for my real life car because I'm using like my iPad's case that it shipped with
But
to
I
store
thought-
all the documents as my folder.
I thought like putting ugly models of cars on your desk is what you do at your work.
No. I have Toko around on my desk sometimes. She's currently over here at my house now, but usually she lives on my desk.
But your boss's desk has cars on it.
I have one decoration on my desk, and it's Toko, and that's it.
I don't have a desk.
Neither do I.
At work, I work at a bench.
I work with an adding machine.
All right, we should probably actually look at wrapping up. I don't think there's anything else we really need to hit.
Oh my goodness, it's past.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's some minor stuff we could talk about, but it's a lot of fluff stuff we stuck in there just in case it looks like.
Yep. Instead, we got mileage out of Thots and Hydras, or possibly a thought.
I'm a. If somebody can draw Hot Tower, the inbred hillbilly Hydra with 3 heads, I will try and put that on a T-shirt if it's good enough.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Let's wrap up, shall we, before this gets any sillier.
Yeah, you never know what it is that Ari's going to take a shine.
So, closing comments go.
Should have some video to talk about next week because Smash comes out in a few days. And that's all anyone's going to be talking about. Hell, that's all anyone's talking about at the current moment. Because
I'll get to it eventually.
I have this leak and it's totally legit, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Incidentally, a lot of YouTube channels are going to go bust the moment that game launches.
Oh no, they'll switch to covering their opinions on every single character in the game, and that'll keep them afloat for basically the entire lifespan of the game as far as the general public's concerned.
Well, yeah, but nobody will be watching them because they'll be too busy playing the game.
No, they won't. People watch YouTube for no reason.
Mm.
They'll be just fine. I think they'll be just fine. I mean, I still won't watch them personally, but they'll be just fine. Okay. I guess I'm going to farm socks one more time to clear my AP and go crash, because I'm tired, man. All right.
Man.
Scrolling through the news. I looked at this article on Mithra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 being censored in Smash, and I'm looking at the censored picture, and I think that her sex appeal's actually gone up a couple of notches after they censored her.
They actually put a few clothes on her?
Yeah, they covered up the boob window and gave her skin tight leggings, and I think she actually hot now.
See, it's not all
Like
bad.
if this is the what censorship accomplishes, go for it.
She doesn't look like a thought anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Rika the Christmas thought is a thing in Idaru's.
We don't have the Christmas thought in FGO yet.
Oh, we have a useless goddess.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
really
she's viewed by the community as basically being Caldea's resident thought alongside Maeve.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a Christmas thought. I gave all a breakdown of the Idaru thought levels.
Yeah, but it seemed kind of biased to me.
I mean, it is totally in character what I posted they would say.
Yeah, it was biased heavily in favor of characters that you.
Well, yes. So,
Uh,
I really don't like Rika or
Like-
Mika.
let's get out of here.
All right, folks. Email topic of the week is Game Awards will be next week. Check them out and let us know what you think. Because we will probably spend the entire show talking about them.
And raging and telling them that they put everything in the wrong categories.
We will attempt to limit the amount of times we repeat ourselves.
But they put everything in the wrong categories.
I know.
Again.
Again.
We'll have...
I
Read.
don't know
have
if
a
I'll find
tag
time
for
to
it.
actually watch them. Like, do you know what day they are?
The 8th, I believe.
Yeah,
8th is a
Dag
hard
is
day
that.
for me.
the 8th.
That's Saturday, so it'll be day of show
Besides-
for me.
Yeah, like, we're
I-
not gonna have time.
I can rarely bring myself to actually watch those because I'll usually get some terrible, washed-up B-list celebrity, comedian who's not funny, to present them.
Or-
It'll be...
Ugh,
They'll be completely sozzled.
yeah. Annoying as Aisha Tyler was at the start of things, at least she's now going to be a bit self-aware. That's why they don't use her anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like her. I didn't like her before. I didn't like her in her most recent appearances. I don't think she's funny. I don't
No,
think
she's
she
not.
was ever funny.
She's
The
really-
only thing she ever does is make crude sex jokes like 95% of her particular generation comedian.
Yeah. So, it's going to be cringy, and I could avoid all the cringe and just read the results of a web page.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think that's the way we're going to go with this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There
'cause
might be some announcements or other, but it'll probably be mainly Todd
The
Howard
only-
blowing smoke.
That's what YouTube.
the only announcement we all need to care about is apparently new Devil May Cry 5 music's going to be revealed. So
Are they going to replace the music that got taken out?
I think so, but we'll see.
Interesting. Okay. Let's get out of here.
All right, folks. We will see you next week. Sayonara. Bye bye.